What is going on, guys? Sorry, I'm just sending the announcement in the Discord. All right. What is going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Daryl, Linda, what's going on, guys? Jake. I joined the Discord, but I don't seem to have full access. Hit me up on the Discord. Muhammad, what's going on? Dr. Dice Shooter. No tunes this early. Yeah, give me 1 second. There's just a couple of people have asked for an update on the 10K portfolio. So let's just show that. So yeah, it's right around where we started, which, so there was, if I had to count one misstep, actually I'll say two missteps. There were two missteps. And obviously, you know, the reason for this is because it is a learning experience, right? And I wanted to show that, hey, you could still make good investments even when the market is choppy. And in terms of our investments, I really like most of the stuff we bought, and we'll go through each position. I don't want to spend so much time on this because there is, I think there is an opportunity coming up with the potential $6 trillion stimulus bill. Well, not stimulus, but $6 trillion infrastructure bill that I wanted to talk about. And by the way, guys, if you can't hear me, let me know. If the audio is good, let me know as well. So yeah, I wanted to talk specifically about AMC, GME, obviously, and then the $6 trillion infrastructure bill, which will, I think, bolster some sectors and some stocks specifically. And I wanted to give you guys a heads up on what stocks I'm looking at to buy in order to take advantage of this, because I don't know what the time frame. There'll probably be some wrangling between the Republicans and Democrats about this bill, but there will be an infrastructure bill that is passed because both sides agree that the U.S. is behind at the moment, behind some of its competitors globally, and we have to bolster infrastructure internally for things like EVs, for infrastructure, for 5G towers, et cetera. So I will talk about the stocks that I'm looking at the moment. IMA says, "What's up? Did Riri hit you back?" No, she didn't. Unfortunately, it's been almost, I don't know, less than 24 hours, but I'm getting kind of worried. But because a few people have asked for the 10K portfolio update, and I assume that you guys aren't on the Discord because there's an update to this that is continuously sent, I want to go over this just to appease you guys. We still have about 1,300 of cash left, so I haven't deployed everything. But the two missteps that I'm talking about, one is I actually bought a call on, I believe it was Mara or Riot. I think it was Mara, actually. So I bought a call on Mara that, in my view, was a little bit too high compared to the rest of the portfolio. So I think I bought it for like $400. And that, you know, represents what we're talking about, almost 5% of the portfolio. So that was a misstep. But in Robinhood, there aren't any real Bitcoin derivatives. You can buy Bitcoin, which I probably should have done, as opposed to looking for Bitcoin derivatives on the market. So that was the first misstep. And the second misstep was, not hedging. So as you know, we've been hedging through and through on the main portfolio in the Discord, but I haven't opened up any hedges on the 10K portfolio. But we can go through each of these. And there seems to be a comment that, I mean, it's not really a common comment, but people think that I'm short Palantir. I think it's because they're likely newbies and they didn't understand that I had short puts, which is a bullish position, not a bearish position. And we also have Palantir here in the 10K portfolio. My whole entire thing with Palantir was I just don't think that it's a $1 trillion company. And I saw a trend on YouTube of people saying that they think it would be a $1 trillion company. And I was just trying to bring some realism into the picture to say, you know, it is a historic feat in order to become a $1 trillion company. It's not easy. It's not common, right? That's all I was saying, but it doesn't mean I'm short Palantir. You could see here I'm long Palantir. But I think the the one that I'm the most proud of in terms of percentage is Ford. I was saying that Ford is likely at the time when we bought it the most undervalued automaker. We're up 30% on Ford. We are up, and the portfolio, by the way, would have been around 10,400 if it wasn't for that Mara call. Let's see, on Royal Caribbean, which is a reopening play, right? Up 13% on that, because I was saying that we need to start rotating out of high risk, hyper growth stocks into more value stocks. Netflix Shop, I believe we're up, how much? We're up 15% on Shop. So most of these are really good. I actually don't hate any single one of these. The ones that I would probably let go of at the moment are probably Chewy, and I believe I have Pinterest. Or did I sell Pinterest? I might have sold. No, I had Pinterest. Pinterest, I mean, we're down 6% on Pinterest, but I don't have a lot of, so maybe it makes sense to keep it. But really, I don't hate anything in our portfolio. I think it's well diversified, maybe a little bit too diversified, but I think it's well diversified. I mean, we have reopening plays like Diz. We have reopening plays like Royal Caribbean. We have some growth stocks like Palantir, right? Some hopefuls like Palantir. We have the chip makers, Taiwan Semiconductor, AMD, Fubo, which has just been absolutely tearing lately. We're up 11% on Fubo. This was actually one that we were down 30% on at one point, but up 11%. So yeah. 10K portfolio going really well. And like I said, the only two missteps, which this is obviously a continuous learning process. The only two missteps was, one, opening a call option on Mara that I think was a little too big for the size of the portfolio. And two, not opening a hedge on this portfolio and just focusing on hedges on the main portfolio. When I say a hedge, I mean like puts on the SPY or a put spread on the SPY. You can't buy the VIX on Robinhood, unfortunately. But yeah, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. If you guys, do you guys have any questions on this? Because a few people were acting a little rowdy this morning with regards to the 10K portfolio, but here you have it. Especially if you're not part of the Discord, you won't see updates to this. But all right, there you got it. If there's no other questions, I'm going to jump off this because I don't want to spend too much time on this. Like I said, there is a ton of things. Oh, wow. Morgan is on CNBC. Let's see what she's talking about.
With less in general, and investors are betting faster, broader adoption of software and systems is in the cards. Case in point, Snowpoint Ventures CEO Doug Philippone, whose new firm is investing in Red 6, even as he continues to run and grow the global defense business that he helped build at Palantir.
The caricature is that you fund a company for a second and then they die in some valley of death, I think is their phrase. But the idea here is that, at least from Snowpoint's perspective, is use those learnings where Palantir forged the way to break in, and we want everyone to benefit from that because the ecosystem of entrepreneurs that are helping the nation, that's important to build. And the dual purpose technology idea is thriving. It's been the long history of how that helps society. We should embrace that.
Now, historically, investing in startups focused on defense.
All right, so yeah, they were just talking about the defense part of the budget, and I think there was some important news on Palantir today. Let's see what the news was, but I think they were awarded a contract. Yeah, they were awarded $111 million contract to provide mission command platform for the United States Special Operations Command. So that I believe their stock price is above $25 right now. Let's see, almost 24.47. So this is good. This is what I was saying with Palantir, is that there is a lot of growth that it can see in the coming years, and it needs to keep growing in order to bump up that fair value, in my view, from that $25 range to the 30s and 40s, right? So if it continues to garner contracts like this, then then it can seemingly or hopefully see that stock price. Anyway, so that's it. Palantir, so what I was talking about was this $6 trillion budget with Biden, or six trillion dollar infrastructure bill with Biden, and what stocks can benefit if this is passed. Now, I don't think it will pass 6 trillion because obviously that's a shit ton of money, and the Republicans would likely want to trim that, and I actually agree with them that we are just printing way too much money. But this isn't a stimulus. This is really to build our internal infrastructure up, right? So what stocks can benefit from this? Well, I made a notation. We'll talk about AMC and GME in a second. We talked about Palantir a bit. CRM I'll get into, but CRM was just a no-brainer by the dip, absolutely murdering this morning after earnings last night. And okay, so 400 billion of the 6 trillion infrastructure is going to be dedicated to home healthcare. So I'm looking at companies like AMED. And then in terms of metals, I'm looking at Vale, which we're already in heavy. If you're in the Discord, you know that we bought Vale months ago, which is out of Brazil. Rio is also out of Brazil. And then there's BHP. There are steel stocks that I'm looking at. So MT, Nucor, and X Steel. I think steel will continue to go up. So steel is not only going to be benefiting from the infrastructure bill, but it's also going to be benefiting from the continued inflationary prices. FCX, which is copper, LAC, which is lithium. I'm going to be looking at Caterpillar and Deere, right? Because obviously you need machinery if you're going to build out infrastructure. BIPC, which is a diversified infrastructure ETF. I'm going to look at CCI, which is a cell tower REIT, right? A real estate investment trust. PAVE infrastructure ETF. And I'm going to look at Intel, right? Because it's an American company that is going to be invested in heavily, most likely, in order to try and combat the chip shortage. And then, looking at ChargePoint, because 174 billion is going to go into EV infrastructure, and ChargePoint looks like it's going to be leading the way in terms of building out the EV infrastructure and having charging stations both in commercial as well as residential sector. So we'll take a look at that. Let me get to your questions. Wow, that horn is rather annoying, is it not? Let me turn it down. Every time somebody subscribes, I get the Jamaican horn. All right, so let me get to your questions. Pop out the chat. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, put it in the chat. This fucking new subscriber horn. Yeah, I turned it down. Let me know if it's still too loud. But I turned it down. But with Palantir, it might not be a new contract. It is a bigger contract compared to the last one. Sure. Sessin is doing good. Yes. So the last few stock videos, there are stocks that are just absolutely killing it at the moment. Bumble, which has been murdering it since we bought the dip, is now up almost 23%. We're up. Some of the options that we bought are up 500%. The $80 call that is expiring in October, I believe that's up 130% at the moment. UMC absolutely killing it as well, bouncing off support like a champ. Off of support, UMC, and these are stocks that I talked about within the last 3 or 4 videos. Bouncing off support, UMC is up 18%, but I said this is one of the undervalued, what do you call it? One of the undervalued chip companies. CRM, as I talked about, just a no-brainer. Gapped up, finally broke out of the descending channel, which this is a very, very bullish signal here. We will likely start to see CRM creeping up to highs at around 280 and then potentially higher than that. Sessin, just waiting on FDA approval, almost up 40% since bouncing off the 100-day moving average support. And then obviously we'll talk about AMC. Actually, let's talk about AMC now. It's so funny that I was getting some comments yesterday. Most of them were positive in terms of the AMC analysis. And I was saying that really there is, because I keep getting questions, and I'm sure that that those of you who are also involved in the AMC trade. Oh, we just got a super chat. I'll take a look at that. But I'm sure most of you who are involved in the AMC trade also have a similar question, which is, oh, how high can it go? Should I buy now? Well, there isn't really a way to tell how high can it go. There are certain things that we can do in order to try and project. One of the things we can do is use a Fibonacci extension. And there were a couple of people that either didn't know what it was or were saying that a Fibonacci extension is useless. However, they haven't really studied a Fibonacci extension. Fibonacci numbers are numbers that exist in nature, right? So if you are accepting that the chart of any stock is basically nature applied onto a visual, because all these are right here, all these candles are right here, these are just the actions, behaviors, and psychology of everyone involved in the market. That's all this is. That's all the chart is. Right? When you're looking at these candles, it's basically the interaction between buyers and sellers. That is it. So obviously we are apes. We come from nature, and the Fibonacci numbers would also apply or potentially apply, right, to human beings as well. So there isn't really a way to project how high something will go because volume is a lagging indicator, right? As I said yesterday, we need insane volume, kind of like we saw in January and February, for this thing to keep getting pushed up. However, it's a lagging indicator because you cannot predict volume ahead of time. And I will talk about payment for order flow and how the institutions are actually, they know our orders before those orders go in. I'll talk about that in a second. But the Fibonacci numbers are really the only way to project something that is unknown and in uncharted territory. And you could see that yesterday's candle stopped really close to the 1.618. Today's candle stopped really close to the 2 Fibonacci level, right? So for those of you, the couple of you that were clowning the Fibonacci, what other methodology would you use in order to project future prices in uncharted territory? There isn't anything, because by the time the volume information kicks in, it's already priced in. It's called a lagging indicator, not a leading indicator, right? You cannot predict these things. So in order to predict how humans, or as I like to call them, apes, are going to behave, you can use something like the Fibonacci sequence. Are you going to be exact? No, but so far, what I said yesterday and the day before and today, so far the Fibonacci looks to be a really good indicator, right? 1.618 was a great target. The 2 was a great target. I mean, this isn't magic, right? When I said that I think it's going to hit $25 3 days ago and it hit $25, when I said I think it's going to hit $32 yesterday and it stopped at almost $32 yesterday, right? And you could see today that the 2 level is also a resistance point so far for AMC. Now, hopefully you guys didn't buy puts on AMC because obviously we gapped up today and a lot of people were thinking of shorting it yesterday. You definitely don't want to do that. Let us go to, I want to check on the volume information on AMC real quick. So if you look at the volume, almost 220 million shares was exchanged today. That is fucking insane. The reason that I bring this up is because for those of you that think that institutions are not involved in this, you are crazy. You are crazy, right? This is not all retail. So payment for order flow was a system that was really devised by Bernie Madoff, right? He created this. Obviously, before he got into his Ponzi scheme, he revolutionized this in the 80s. But the reason that Robinhood and Webull and some of these other platforms are free, if something is free, you are likely the product, right? So the reason that this stuff is free is because they know your orders before they are sent in. So what happens is Robinhood collates all of your orders, like all of you that are buying AMC on Robinhood, takes all of your orders, sells it to the institutions. The institutions' algorithms see that, hey, okay, 10 million people or we have 10 million orders on AMC. Let's get our orders in first. They not only get their orders in first ahead of yours, they get them for pennies cheaper than yours, and they paid Robinhood for that information, right? That is why Robinhood is free. That is why Webull is free. So for those of you that are deluding yourselves, thinking that this is all organic and then we're somehow beating the system, no. Now, we are beating the system in the sense that, you know, if you're engaging in AMC/GME trades, obviously those stocks fundamentally don't belong at those prices. And you are essentially able to make a fortune off of a trade that is somewhat known, I should say, right? So we are beating the system in that regard because this game was really only reserved for hedge funds and institutions. But you are not beating institutions, meaning you are not screwing them over. And, you know, this narrative that they're somehow just sitting on their hands watching CNBC, reading Reddit boards, you know, shivering in fear that you're about to blast their shorts. No, they're in call options with us. They're in shares with us. They're not stupid, guys. They are not stupid. Okay? They might have made a misstep or two back in January. Trust me. They are in this trade with us right now, okay? So I just want to make sure that is known. Now, the one thing that is interesting is if you look at the IV, the implied volatility, right, which is the blue on my chart here, the implied volatility was a lot higher back in January and February, obviously because that was the first time really that this trade took place. So there was a lot more uncertainty. But you can also read this in another way. You could say that, you know, we are just getting started because the implied volatility starts to ramp up, right? And it doesn't peak until really you are at the top, right? So you can make a case that if you look at the price oscillator, which these are, oh, I got to get to the super chats, my bad. But if you look at the price oscillator, which this is proprietary, these are my settings. And I have a video talking about why I set up the price oscillator like this. But if you look at the price oscillator and the RSI and the implied volatility, you could make a case that there is a little bit higher to go. I think that we can easily test that 36 again today. We wicked down, right? We wicked down from 36 to about 30 because people are profit taking. But I believe that we can go back up to 36 again today just based off of where these oscillators are at. However, unfortunately, somebody will get caught holding the bag. When? It will likely be the ones that are buying in late, right? You're seeing, I'm sure that your grandparents and your parents and, you know, you have friends of yours that are calling you up if you're involved in the stock market and they're not. And they're like, hey, should I buy AMC now? Well, likely, just like Bitcoin, if they're asking, likely it is a bit too late. And I'll get to Bitcoin as well because we did see a drop in Bitcoin. And I know that a lot of you want to hear my Bitcoin analysis. But that is why I think we can get back to that 36 level today, right? And I will be day trading this just as I was yesterday. And the way that I day trade it is I have my day trading setup here, which I also did a video on. But without reading a chart, it's going to be very hard for you to really have any context of whether you should buy or not, right? You are just likely buying randomly and selling randomly, which is fine if you want to gamble. But there's a lot easier ways to do this, man. Spend some time, read a chart, right? I mean, the last time this happened was 3-4 months ago, right? So this whole time, and trust me, I'm not trying to chastise you. I'm just trying to paint a more realistic picture that this whole time you could have, you know, learned how to read a chart and be better prepared for it. And if you haven't, and if this is your first go around, then you have time to learn how to read a chart for the next time because you want to contextualize these prices. Like looking at AMC here on the 5-minute, the yellow is the 105-minute moving average on my chart, right? This to me would be a buy point. So instead of being on your phone, looking at Robinhood and Webull and be like, should I buy? Should I buy? Let me call my friend, ask him or her if I should buy. You want to contextualize this stuff so that you can determine your own buy points and not just randomly buy and sell, you know, clicking the buy button, looking at the stock dropping, panicking, then selling, right? When you're day trading and you buy, there's a certain amount of cushion that you are giving yourself because if the stock continues to drop, then you'll know when to sell as opposed to just randomly looking at your phone saying, oh shit, man, this never works out. Every time I buy, it tanks, right? See, it's dropping below the 100 moving average on the 5-minute right now, right? So at this point, if you were a day trader, you would exit your position and wait for a better entry. And you can see on the 1 minute, it looks like it's tanking. And that's why I have two views. I have the 1 minute on the top and the 5 minute on the bottom, because you want to contextualize things, right? So I would have already exited my position as a day trader, especially looking at this time and sales here on the right with all the red volume. And I will likely enter either at the support level that I draw, which in this case, I would draw it at the former resistance, right? Which is around the 200-day, the 205-minute moving average. This is where I would likely buy my next batch. And if we don't get to that level and we break above the 100 MA again, then I will enter a position there as well. But my point is, you want to learn how to read a chart so you can contextualize things. All right, guys. I missed a lot of super chats. So let me get to, why the hell is Justin Sun on CNBC? I love it, dude. And he's using like the cheapest freaking, I don't even think he has a green screen. He's using like the built-in Skype blur background thing. All right. Anyway, let me look at the super chats that I missed. Damn it. No. I swear to God, I will get this. Okay. Dustin Jordan. Okay. Looking at playing a potential breakout play on COM CSA, double top, and close to 52-week highs. Swing trade only. Okay. This is slowing things down, so let me close this, even though I never get tired of looking at Morgan. But I'll close this. All right, so let's look at that. Wow, Sesson absolutely ripping, guys. Hopefully you got into this play. Hopefully you got into this play when I did the video on when did I do this video? Well, I've been talking about Sesson forever, but this video was May 17th. Hopefully you got into that play, man, because Sesson is absolutely ripping, waiting for FDA approval. All right. Let me look at this. What? Dude, what is the ticker symbol? What is the ticker symbol? Did you mean Comcast? Oh, yes. Sorry, had a blank there. So you want to play, let's see. You guys are going to get an insight here into how I will do technical analysis to determine whether there is a trade or not. I'm playing a potential breakout play on Comcast double top and close to the 52-week highs. By the way, a double top is a bearish position. It sounds like you think it's a bullish position. Pardon me if I'm mistaken on that. But Comcast is, double tops are actually bearish positions, not bullish positions. And there's actually something called a triple top. Would I play this? No, I would not play this, because I would actually most likely buy puts on this if we hit resistance, but it could break out. However, you want to play the breakout, right? You don't want to long this, not by any means. You want to let it prove to you that it wants to break out. So at the breakout, yes, certainly you can long it. I do like where the MACD is at, but trend is your friend until the end. So you have to trust that this is the trend here and that Comcast will be trading in this until it is not, right? So I personally would not long here. The breakout would be, at the 59 range. So you can wait for that or let it prove to you that it wants to break out. Honestly, because most likely, if it doesn't, we will likely see a bump here at the resistance and back down in the channel, right? But it is bouncing off the 100 MA like a champ. That is where you should likely play the swing, is off the 100-day moving average. Pretty easy trade. Go back to, so bounce off the 200 in November, bounce off the 100 in January, bounce off the 100 in April, bounce off the 100 in May. It is respecting the major moving averages. That is likely what you want to do with Comcast and not try to buy this unless it actually significantly breaks out. So hopefully that answered your question. There was another super chat that I missed. Raed Al Jasser. Z, great job. What do you think of I called it sandal yesterday. Sundial, not sandal. What do you think of sundial? By the way, is my volume on? Yes, it is. Okay. I get paranoid, man. What do you think of sundial? Yes, I love sundial and I love Tilray. As I said yesterday, it is just a matter of time, right? Right now we're talking about infrastructure. Okay. So the way that the government prioritizes things, right, focuses on certain sectors at certain times. However, when the weed conversation or the cannabis legalization conversation is slow, right, that's when you want to buy, man. You don't want to buy when the news is already out and this stuff is pumping, because they will reshift focus at some point, right? Like the combating the coronavirus was the first initiative. Passing out stimulus and unemployment was part of that. Now we're focusing on infrastructure. Within a year or two, they will focus, and maybe less, they will focus on federal weed legalization. Trust me, this administration is going to do, like, before this administration is done, before the 4 years, or God, I'm so bad. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But before this administration is done, whether it's Biden or Kamala, they will pass weed legalization, right? Federal weed legalization. So that is when you want to get into some of these plays. And I think sundial, which I said was a buy off the 200-day moving average, actually bounced. We had a nice bounce off the 200 moving average, right? It's up, almost 33%. Tilray was the other one. Tilray is the more serious one, I'll say. And sundial is the one with the most upside, because Tilray is one of the largest cannabis companies after its merger with Aphria. And it has almost the same exact chart as sundial. So if you're looking to play cannabis, I would put a little bit, and Tilray is an alert that I did send out in the trade alerts as well. But I would play mostly in Tilray, I guess, if you want to consider it a blue chip, and then sundial being a riskier, smaller growth cannabis stock with a lot more potential. Planet 13 is also another one that I really like. And what was the one out of Canada that you guys have up there? High Tide, right? High Tide is the other. I think they did they do a reverse split? Yeah, they did a reverse split. So I think they did a 1 for 15 split not that long ago. But High Tide is the other one that is now currently only Canadian. It's like Canada's version of Planet 13. Actually, they're older than Planet 13, I believe. But they said that they will start branching out in the US once federal legalization takes shape. So those are the cannabis stocks that I like. But I do want to go back to this, talk about some of the stocks more specifically that, we want to focus on for the infrastructure bill, because again, we want to buy this stuff before these things actually hit the newswire. Already, some of this is priced in because we're talking about the $6 trillion infrastructure. And if we're thinking of buying, right, a lot of the stuff we actually did already buy. But if we're thinking of buying, then the rest of the market already thought of it. But until it's, passed, we don't know really what sector is getting what allocation of the money. However, the economy is booming, guys. The economy is booming. If you look at the Chicago PMI numbers, they came out just now, actually. It was released May 28th, 75.2, right? The actual forecast was 68. And I'm not going to go into the details of this, but this is basically a purchasing index. And the reading that we have now, I think, is the second highest reading of all time, right? I think that it rivals what we saw just after World War II, which is, was the considered a historically large growth period for the U.S. economy, right? A lot of old timers consider it the greatest period of growth in the U.S. economy. So yeah, and I think that this infrastructure plan here is looking to try and replicate that. to some degree. And yeah, this is a lot of money printed, but let's think about all of the US businesses and jobs that are going to be supported by this. So this is not the same as stimulus, although this will still obviously play into the inflation conversation. You cannot just print money regardless of what you use it for, dump it in the economy and not expect inflation, right? So I do think that 2022, we will have to start talking about raising rates. But 2021 is looking to be, as we suspected, the largest GDP growth, record GDP growth that we've ever seen in this country, all right? So I will talk about these stocks in a second. Let me just get to your questions. Obviously, we still got to check on the AMC trade and the GME trade. I had a put on AMC and I sold it. Well, hopefully you bought it at the top. My parents paid a lot of money to try and get smarter at the government public training school facility, and then they flunked me when I wouldn't think like them. Well, it definitely is Friday, guys, and the comments show it. High tide and canopy growth. Yeah, I just talked about that. Let's not wish death upon anyone. I don't think anyone was wishing death. Oh, you guys, you guys are talking about Biden. All right. Invisible stuff. Oh my God, man. Look, when you're dealing with the markets, right? If you let things trigger, if you let, I guess, political opinions, if you let it trigger you so easily, right? And you let it compromise your emotions, trading is probably not for you, right? You got to remain agnostic about this stuff. You got to look at things factually. You have to look at things objectively, right? If you let the political conversations trigger you so easily, then you likely don't have the chops for trading. I'll be honest, right? So for me, I don't trust any politician. And that's the way, that's benefited me over almost 2 decades, right? I keep them at bay and I look at what is going on with regards to politics, foreign policy, with regards to domestic policy, right? Where's the spending going? And I try to benefit myself and the people around me based off of that. I could give a shit about politics. I give a shit. Well, I care about politics as it relates to the markets and how it affects our lives, but I could give a shit about politics when I'm trading. I give a shit about politics when I'm investing, right? It's not going to, my personal feelings and my personal opinions are not going to sway whether I invest in something or not, or whether I am criticizing an administration. So I'm not really looking at the, what the $6 trillion bill, for instance, means and where the money's going and how can I benefit myself and the people around me based off of that, right? So it's so funny. And this is, I've seen this more and more recently. Like, this didn't used to be a thing 10, 15 years ago. I've seen this more and more recently where, unfortunately, people get triggered by their political ideology, and it really masks, puts blinders on them with regards to their ability to trade, right? But if you're triggered so easily, then you are likely not going to be successful if you are trying to trade. So just saying, guys, take that for what it is. All right, let me get to Mary or Marie, I apologize, your question. I don't see a question. Unless, did you just send this? Guys, you really don't have to, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Mary or Marie. I'm looking to see if maybe you sent a question after. I don't think you did. What did Arslan say? Arslan said, damn, Z making 40 look not too bad. You sipping that ACV. This is coffee, right? This is coffee. Yesterday was a Batman cup. Today's a Spider-Man cup. But I don't know, man. Like, I just continue to work out, play ball, box. I eat really well. I cheat every now and again. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. He has Tucker Carlson statue in his closet. Me? I hope you're not talking about me. Dude. Mainstream media, mainstream politicians, trust me, I'm smart enough not to affiliate myself with any of them. I'm like the Terminator, dude. Like I examine what's in front of me objectively and then try to interpret it and see how, again, it can benefit me and the people around me, right? I don't tie my emotions to these people, dude. All right, any other questions? God damn, we are all George. What does this mean? All right. Bro, I get HJs from the nice of Biden's son's Coke dealer. She has magic hands. Wow. Okay. Guys, do you have any trading questions? If not, you look like Leonidas. You're talking about like the Greek warrior? Dope. Bro, love listening to you. I miss your Discord. Yeah, come back, man. LOL to questions. Guys, stop spamming. You know what? I'm gonna mute this guy who's spamming. How do we do this? Put user in timeout. What the fuck does this do? I don't know, but let's see. All right, no board washing. AMC support levels. Okay, they trying to get you cut off. Yes, look at posts. Roblox. Okay, we'll talk about Roblox in a second. Good entry point for Sesson. Okay, so we'll talk about Sesson, Roblox, BlackBerry, and AMC. And I also want to talk about the stocks that I was mentioning, part of this $6 trillion infrastructure bill. Could you please offer your thoughts on CTRM's reverse stock split going on today and what will come of it in the guys? Reverse stock splits, the reason that they do that is so that they can remain on the exchange and remain in compliance, right? That's what reverse stock splits are for. They are different than stock splits, which, like Nvidia, for instance, is doing a stock split in order to make their stock price more, more attractive, right? And make the options prices more attractive. But a reverse stock split doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything fundamentally of the company. This company is still a very risky penny stock that is losing money. So a reverse stock split is not going to do anything. It's meant to try and buy some time so that it doesn't get delisted, right? That's all it is. All right, let's go back to the AMC trade and let's see where AMC is currently at. Okay, so dip below the 100 MA, crossed above. So again, if you're day trading, right, the cross above the 100 MA once again would be your buy point right here, right? And on the 1 minute, it is struggling to stay above the 200 MA. In terms guys, I mean, this is seeing insane volume, right? Like, how much more volume can we get? Almost 280 million shares already. This is absolutely insane. But I would pay attention. To the implied volatility, right? Because this is going to tell you a lot of the story here. Once this IV is super high, and this is why I wouldn't buy puts, because a lot of you guys are thinking of buying puts in order to try and make money off this. Now, you could, if you're day trading, you could buy an intraday put. Sure. If it hits the high again of 36, you could buy a put, sure. But a lot of folks, when the IV is super high and you're buying puts, even if the stock moves in your direction, you could lose money. That actually happened to me earlier when, like, I made a killing off of the January, February GME AMC trades. And then I was like, hey, this stuff has to come back to reality. And I mistakenly bought puts when the IV was high. The IV starts tanking, right? So even though the stock price is dropping in my favor because I bought puts, the IV is also dropping. So a lot of people only associate IV with calls. They don't associate IV with puts, but it's the same thing. It applies to all of your options that you actually buy. So if you buy a call or a put when the IV is high and the IV drops, you can get IV crushed on both calls and puts, not just calls, okay? So keep that in mind. But I still think this trade has more to go because there's still a lot left for the IV. However, just like last time, there will be one day, whether it is today or Monday or whatever, there will be one day when the rug will get pulled, right? So just like last time when we gapped up on January 27th, this high only lasted one day, meaning meaning this is where the cliff drop was from, right? Now, again, if you know how to day trade within the intraday, you could still make a lot of money on AMC, on GME. But if you're just looking at the 1-day chart, it only lasted 1 day at the peak and then tanked. We will likely see that rug pulling scenario, because do not discount. Again, I have to keep repeating myself only because I see a lot of misinformation online. Don't think that this is all us, right? 282 million volume. This is institutions, guys. This is institutions. Look at the look at the options volume. This is just absolutely fucking insane, right? You're talking about just today, you're talking about 50,000 $39 calls. You're talking about 41,000 $40 calls, right? You're talking about 40,000 $59 calls. Like, these are institutions. This is not just retail traders. So the rug can get pulled by institutions, and likely will get pulled by institutions. I want you guys to know really what's going on and not be so dogmatic, so that you could be prepared for it. When the rug gets pulled, it will also be the institutions that pull the rug, because they will also be profit taking when their algorithms sense that volume is dropping off. Remember, they could see your orders before your orders actually go in. So their algorithms will already sense kind of like a, what do they call those? Like a Richter scale, right? That basically examines the tremors of the earth. They can examine ahead of time what is going on with volume, and they have metrics that tell them, oh shit, volume is dropping off a lot, right? And once that starts to happen, these institutions will start pulling the rug. They will take profits and will start pulling the rug. And it is the retail traders who FOMO'd at the high who are going to get screwed, okay? So just so you know how this game is played, it is not that complicated, guys. It's not that complicated. It is just supply and demand. That's all it is. So the institutions see where the demand is, and they're acting accordingly, all right? Hopefully you guys are aware of what is going on. Again, it doesn't mean you shouldn't trade it. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be in solidarity with one another, but just know what is going on. All right. So we talked about CTRM, Sundial. I talked about Sundial already. Stop spamming the chat, KV. I'm going to mute you. FT. Or CCIV. Talked about CCIV yesterday. Sundial 2023 call option. Sure, if you want to. Those are called leaps. Roblox. Okay, yes. I said I would talk about Roblox. What do you mean by institutions? Come on, son. Are you trolling me? Institutions, not retail traders, but hedge funds, what they call family offices, right? Large banks. That's what I mean. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, Roblox. Okay. Let's look at Roblox. And then, guys, I really want to get into this because there are some stocks that I think we can really benefit from this news here, okay? So I'll look at Roblox real quick, which I think was pushing almost 100 yesterday. Okay, so 95. I have the 95.90 did I sell a call spread or buy a put spread? I think I sold the call spread. But yeah, I was hoping, like, I'm bullish on Roblox. I just thought that it would see resistance around the 90-95 level. And it looks like so far we are overbought on the RSI, right? If you bought Roblox here, good luck. I would not buy it here. But if you've been in it since the 65 range when I suggested Roblox was a good buy and a good value at 65, then great. But yeah, it looks like the OBV starting to drop off, the volume starting to drop off a little bit. We are overbought, so we might see some resistance here. Yeah, that's Roblox. Okay, so here are the stocks that I'm looking at right now. We can go through each of them. But AMED, okay, so AMED, as I said, 400 billion of that potentially $600 trillion bill is going to go into home healthcare. So yeah, I guess you can look at Teladoc. But AMED is more like Teladoc is telemedicine, which is great. But AMED is more geared towards actually sending practitioners to people's houses. Okay, so it's actually home healthcare. AMED right now is sitting at the 200-day moving average. So AMED is one stock that I'm looking at intently, and will likely pick some up here. LAC, as I said, the U.S. is looking to become more competitive with the global landscape, right? Lithium is needed for a lot of things, including EV, and they're looking to spend almost $200 billion alone in EV infrastructure, so we will likely need a lot of lithium. I was bullish on LAC before. Again, sitting at the 200 MA. I think LAC is a stock to buy now for sure. Again, these are long terms. Don't take what I say here as a swing trade unless you're asking me specifically about a swing trade and I tell you that I see a swing opportunity. But I'm just talking about long term here, okay? LAC, really good value. AMED, really good value. Because as I said before, and you could see from the 10K portfolio, right? And our portfolio on the Discord and the stocks that I'm suggesting on the Discord, rotating was very key. If we did not rotate from these hyper growth stocks, right? Stocks that were hot last year that are now tanking and have never recovered. If you did not make that rotation, then you are losing out on a lot of value, okay? But a lot of the value stocks that I talked about are already booming. But there's still an opportunity in some of these beaten down stocks that will likely benefit from the $6 trillion infrastructure bill. So LAC, we talked about. AMED is another one. All right. Vale and Rio and BHP. So Vale, which I used to call Vale until a Brazilian Discord member corrected me. So we bought Vale, I want to say at the 100-day moving average. I think it was $17 when we bought Vale, currently trading at 21. There's still a lot more room to go on Vale, in my opinion. I would wait for a retracement here. I think you are buying near the high. Or dollar cost average in this. Rio is Vale's competitor, also out of Brazil. Rio gapped up just yesterday, but it was sitting at the 100-day moving average. Also a great buy in this sector. So Rio and Vale are in the iron ore business, which is Brazil is very heavy on, right? Like I don't think that iron ore can be sourced locally in the U.S. However, just because it's a U.S. based infrastructure bill does not mean that we won't rely on our trading partners. And Brazil is a very important trading partner of the U.S. that we won't rely on them to source some of this stuff that we need, right? So Vale, Rio, BHP. Not as great of an entry right now as AMED or LAC, which I like as well. Let's look at some of the steel stocks, right? So Nucor, which is just, I mean, even though steel right now is at all-time highs, right now it's consolidating in the same way that it was back in March. But steel, I think, has a lot more to go. We bought calls on U.S. Steel, which U.S. Steel is seeing a down day, gapped up yesterday, but it is consolidating in the same way. So we could see U.S. Steel Corp go up, Nucor go up. And then ArcelorMittal is also another one that I'm looking at. But again, steel right now, if you're buying it, you're buying it near the highs. However, I do think steel will eventually make newer highs, right? So not a ton of great value in steel, but still solid stocks for the long term and solid stocks for infrastructure. FCX, copper, right? Also copper just going absolutely apeshit in 2021. But FCX is a copper stock, is my main copper stock that I'm looking at. Again, not great value here because copper and steel are at all-time highs, but these are still things that we have to pay attention to. And then Caterpillar and John Deere, these machinery stocks, I believe there's more opportunity on Deere, but these will continue to push higher, right? These are just behemoths, regardless of the infrastructure, right? These will continue to push higher regardless, but the infrastructure will push them likely even higher, and they will continue to just absolutely murder their earnings. Yeah, so there's more opportunity on John Deere than there is on Caterpillar. Again, consolidating here, quiet at the 100-day moving average, but these stocks can make new highs. Again, guys, these are just, I'm talking about long-term stocks here that would benefit from the $6 trillion infrastructure. We want to take a look at the cell towers, absolutely killing it on AMT, American Tower Corporation, which if you're a fan of this channel, we bought last year. CCI is another cell tower infrastructure REIT. Come on, man. I hate when the trading view is so slow. All right. CCI. Wow. CCI. Yeah, there's very little value here. I'm not saying it's not a good stock. You will want to wait for a tracement on CCI. Let's look at what AMT is doing. As I said, we bought AMT last year, and it did actually see a crash in March, but it is back up. AMT is a very volatile stock, but does have a lot of value and will likely benefit from the infrastructure bill as well. Let's see. Let's look at the BIPC. This is the Brookfield Infrastructure Corp, which is a diversified all-around infrastructure corporation. I think there's a lot of value here at the 100-day moving average that could benefit from that $6 trillion infrastructure bill. Oh, Intel. So Intel is one that both obviously doubles up as a blue chip tech stock, but Intel, which has really been forgotten for the likes of AMC and NVIDIA, Intel is an American company. It's an American chip company that has seen a lot of volatility over the years. But if we are looking to bolster the in-house or the domestic chip sector, Intel is going to be the main beneficiary of that, right? Like, I do think that it will still benefit foreign chip companies, the infrastructure bill, because we will likely have to rely on TSM, right, on Taiwan Semiconductors and on UMC in order to help us scale. But Intel is an undervalued stock for the long term, in my view, and will be the main beneficiary from the semiconductor standpoint of the $6 trillion infrastructure bill. And then lastly, I want to talk about ChargePoint and then gold, which, funny enough, will benefit in sort of a secondary manner from the $6 trillion infrastructure. And gold is breaking out, by the way. But yeah, ChargePoint, as I said, almost $200 billion will be poured into EV infrastructure. And ChargePoint looks to be like the main candidate for scaling commercial and residential charging stations across the U.S. So I think ChargePoint is definitely a buy here for the long term with a lot of value. Gold, as I said, is breaking out, and gold, along with Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is somewhat more volatile, but I pointed out that gold was breaking out. I actually bought it in the middle of this channel, but you could have also bought it at the breakout of this channel. But gold is breaking out because of inflation fears, right? So GLD will be one of your best friends in an inflationary environment, right? It's a slow mover. You're not going to go be crazy rich from gold, but you at least will be buying something that maintains its value throughout an inflationary environment. Okay. Speaking of Bitcoin, let's talk about Bitcoin, and then I'll get to your questions, and then we'll go back to the trade. So yeah, Bitcoin on the 1 day, again, bouncing off of the 300-day moving average. This right here is not a very comfortable pattern here. This is called a distribution pattern. This is the exact opposite of an accumulation pattern. So distribution patterns like an inverted top or a rounding top. An inverted rounding pattern or a rounding top. And this is what's called an accumulation pattern, which is really what you want to see in a bullish environment, right? Like, this is what Bitcoin does in bullish environments. If you look at the 1 week on Bitcoin, you will see these rounding patterns leading up to these major bull runs. However, what it is doing right now is called a distribution pattern, right? This is the exact opposite. Now, my fear on Bitcoin, well, not really fear, because I know that in the long term, it'll be worth a lot more than it is today. I'm very well aware of Bitcoin super cycles. I've been trading Bitcoin for 4.5 years now, but and I did a dollar cost averaging on Bitcoin. Go back and watch that. If you had just put in $1,000 a month for 9 years, you'd have $62 million right now, right? That's just math. That is not a lie. However, Bitcoin has the CME gap to worry about. The CME gap is basically the Bitcoin futures gap, which Bitcoin fills over 95% of the time. And there is a Bitcoin CME gap right here. You see it with your own two eyes. There's a gap right here. This gap lies between the 24,000 and 26,000 range, right? And I think that we will eventually fill this gap at some point, right? So I do think Bitcoin does have lower to go. Now, it does not mean that Bitcoin is not going to boom. And by the way, not only is this a rounding top, you have to watch out for a potential head and shoulders. A head and shoulders on the weekly would definitely send us here. Okay? A head and shoulders on the weekly would definitely send us there. So just keep in mind, I would still continue to dollar cost average because as I showed in my dollar cost averaging video, that is your best bet. But I would still watch out for this. Okay? I've ignored the chat way too long. So let me go to the chat. I think Apple will run with Ford. Actually, Apple got a very rare downgrade today because of what they perceive to be a slowdown in iPhone sales. But Apple will make a big announcement about the Apple Car, whether it merges with Lucid, whether it merges with Hyundai or something. They will make a big announcement, right? Morgan versus Riri. Who you got? Come on, man. We can't pit the... He's talking about Morgan from CNBC and Riri obviously being Rihanna, who still has not gotten back to me. I DM'd her yesterday in my Instagram stories. Follow me on Instagram, by the way. She didn't get back to me. So I don't know, man. They're all beautiful. All right. They're all beautiful. I have it's I don't have a specific taste. Yeah, I don't know. But if you had to make me choose, I mean, I would say Riri, all right, because she can at least sing to me. So we'll see. But Morgan's got she's got the finance brain, man. It's hard. I could tell you that either way, Kathy wouldn't be happy about either of them. All right. Bro, your videos are the truth. Thank you. Good places to stay in Dubai. Definitely you want to stay either in JBR, right? Which is basically the marina. I think that would be your best bet. It's easily walkable. The beach there it's right there, and it's beautiful. I think you want to stay in JBR for sure. If you are going to Dubai, I would not go in the summertime. I'm going for personal reasons. I have to go there. But I would not go in the summertime, man. Wait until October. Wait until end of September, October. That's probably the perfect weather is October. Yesterday you talked about news being priced in. Wouldn't this also be, yes, as I said, the Breeny's asking if the news with the infrastructure bill is priced in. And yes, as I said yesterday, or as I said today, and I talk about all the time, the price run up that you see is because a lot of it is priced in, but the bill hasn't passed. And you have to take into account, as I said, these are long term. You have to take into account the effect that the infrastructure bill will have on the earnings of these companies. So when they start reporting earnings and their earnings continue to grow, then it will likely have a positive effect on the stock price in the long term. But yes, in the short term, a lot of this stuff is priced in. You are 100% correct. You are 100% correct. But we don't know the details of the bill yet. And the allocation per sector, which would also play into a little bit of the price factor in the short term. But in the long term, you want to see how the infrastructure bill, and not only that, but the residuals that come from it, right? The consumer spending, how it will affect the earnings of these companies. So yeah. And as I said, I mean, I made a distinction, right? Some of those stocks that I mentioned are undervalued, like AMED, LAC, ChargePoint. I wouldn't say undervalued, but there's a lot of value there left, right? But then some of the stuff like Nucor is at all-time highs, right? X Steel is near all-time highs. So just saying, put son's college fund in Doge, yes or no? Yes. Hey, what does IV mean? Implied volatility. Z is faithful to Kathy. No, I wouldn't say I'm faithful to her. But she would be mad. She would be mad if she knew about Morgan or Riri for sure. Alp, have you seen this penny stock? Yes, Alp is a penny stock that I traded. However, I'm on record. I said that I'm not trading penny stocks right now. What in the hell was that? That scared the shit out of me. I'm not trading penny stocks right now, besides Sesson. Oh, Maxine, she joined the YouTube membership. No to shitcoins. Why? Why? If you can make money, why? Don't be so dogmatic. The same thing that I said about politics, not letting it affect your trading. Same thing goes with being emotional about, or being dogmatic with regards to a specific coin or a specific stock or a specific CEO, right? Come on, guys. Don't get rattled. Don't get rattled that easy. Z has PTSD. No, I don't. Are you still working on that jumper? John Mar, what's going on, man? Oh, shit. Hey, what's going on, dog? Yeah, I've been playing on Sundays, dude. We play outdoors. Hit me up. That's a friend of mine from back in the ball days when we used to play indoors before all of the COVID madness. Hit me up, dude. I'll give you the details on Sunday where we play. All right, just text me or hit me up on IG. But yeah, we're playing Sundays outdoors now. So, what's up, John Mar? Please answer the question about entry on Sesson. I did, dude. I went over Sesson already. Fam. Sesson, you are too late on, unfortunately. This is the weekly chart. I mean, you're pushing near highs. Sesson, there was a great entry. Again, I did that video back in, when the hell did I do that video? I mean, I've been doing videos on Sesson, but the perfect entry, I did that video on May 17th, right? Which was this week right here. So that week that the stock went up 26%, the week after went up almost 14%, right? Have you seen Football Stars? Not sure what you mean. I'll cook you on the court. All right. Let's see. Have you seen Football Star? This is spam. I'm not going to answer that. Why don't you like Bollinger Bands? I don't mind Bollinger Bands. I think that there's a time and place for Bollinger Bands, for sure, especially when you see a stock retracting, right? So if you look at a stock, it works actually really well on Tesla when Tesla is, this is the weekly, but when Tesla does these modes of retracting here, right? Like where it squeezes and trades in this extremely narrow range. Yes, I mean, times like this, you want to look at the Bollinger Bands. Like Tesla here, right? A Bollinger Band would have helped you with the breakout. Tesla right there, right? Tesla right here. If you had the Bollinger Bands up, it would have helped you a lot with the breakout. But there are certain charts where I don't, depending on what's going on with the price action, I don't have the Bollinger Bands on all the time because it just muddies up the picture for me. But I do like Keltner channels as well. So if you like Bollinger Bands, look at Keltner channels as well. And I believe you're in the Discord, so you probably already have seen the Keltner channels. Can you do CCIV again? I mean, what's changed between yesterday and today, man? Like, what's changed? It's the same. Again, CCIV, everything is priced in. The only thing that's not priced in is whether CCIV can actually deliver what it said it would, because what's his name? Pete Rawlson? What's his name? What's the CEO's name? The creepy dude. The guy that looks like a Bond villain. That dude won't commit to saying whether they can meet production, which means they likely can't. Sorry. Which means they likely can't, right? So you need that news to flip in order for there to be a price hike. Because as I said yesterday, you're not going to compare CCIV to Tesla. Don't you ever do that. CCIV should be compared more so to Fisker, another luxury car brand that has similar production numbers, right? That is in a similar state as CCIV. But in my view, I think Lucid they're going to be like another Fisker, because when you take a look at the Porsche Taycan, right, which is the best selling Porsche right now, which is insane, right? It used to be, I think it used to be the the SUV that they got, the Cayenne, and now the Porsche Taycan is the best selling Porsche on the market. I mean, would you rather have this or a Lucid? Come on, man. Like, be real. Would you rather have this or a Lucid, right? Look at the Audi e-tron. The Audi e-tron GT. These are all priced around the same as the Lucid. I mean, look how, oh my God, this car is so sick. Look at this car, right? Like, would you rather have this or the Lucid? Even something like there's going to be a new version of the BMW i8, and I think they're going to call it, is it going to be called an i8M, I believe? I mean, come on, man. Who would drive a Lucid over this stuff? Honestly, let alone a Model S Plaid, which would be, or a Model S, whatever, not even the Plaid, just the Model S. These are all within the same price range as the Lucid, right? So do not compare Lucid to Tesla. Compare Lucid to Fisker, because we have a comparable company that's already live. This pump right here on CCIV, this is all hype, right? This is a sell the news event. Sorry, this is Fisker. This pump right here on CCIV, this was a sell the news event. This was a SPAC, or still is a SPAC technically, because the ticker symbol hasn't changed. But this is a SPAC, okay, that is going to form into a company that is very similar to Fisker, not similar to Tesla. So don't think that you're going to buy CCIV and get Tesla gains. You will not. I'm telling you right now, you're not, okay? So I'm here to crush your dreams, but I'm also here to be realistic. So anyway, God, man, those cars, the e-tron GT, the i8M, and the Porsche Taycan. I mean, if you had a garage, those are the electric cars you want. But hey, not everyone has my taste. Would you take that or a Lucid? Come on, guys. Let's be real. What does the plus in IV mean? Where are you looking at it? Where are you looking at the IV metric? You seem like you listen to reggae music. Oh yes, we got to come up. We got to get the tunes, man. We got to get the tunes going on. Love your honesty. Thanks. Thank you so much. Audi all the way. Great. I'm just gonna sell CCIV now. What will happen when SoFi IPOs? IPOE is going to fall. Yes. So, IPOE right now is pricing in the merger, the SoFi merger, right? You will likely see a sell the news event. However, I believe that SoFi's price will stabilize. This right here, this is SPAC type volatility, okay? But IPOE, once it becomes SoFi will likely stabilize, because SoFi's numbers are coming out, and man, their growth is impressive. Their balance sheet is impressive, along with their service offerings. So this will likely stabilize. I don't mind buying SoFi at $20, right? You will likely see a price drop, but don't try to time the bottom with this stuff. SoFi is a great company. SoFi is a great company. And a stock that I completely whiffed on so far, which is seeing insane gain off the 300 MA, is Humble. So Humble, I still think has a bright future. It was just really victim to profit taking, shorting, short report, etc. But I was really bullish on Humble. Thank God my stop limit hit on Humble. But this is a stock that I was very hopeful on. Now it did hit. It did do a reverse split, right? A 1-for-4 reverse split, but it did hit that $7 range. I was hoping it would hit that $7 range before the reverse split pricing. So it still could, but yeah, bouncing off the 300 MA like a champ. Humble is more of a smaller competitor to SoFi, but this, I would say, is one that I was more hopeful for in the short term, but glad that I had stop limits in place. I'm still hopeful for it bouncing off the 300 MA. But SoFi at $20, I mean, I think in the long term, you won't be able to beat that pricing. So, you are amazing, man. I like how you are only realistic person in the all YouTube. I appreciate you, Turkey. Z, do you like Barcelona? Man, look, I'm not trying to alienate half of my viewership here. I love Barcelona, bro. I've been a Barcelona fan since I was a kid. Yeah, and I've watched tons of games at Camp Nou, man. Can't wait to get back to Camp Nou, a very, very historic ground in Europe, and such a huge stadium, man. Like when you sit in Camp Nou, it's unbelievable, and you're looking around, it's unbelievable how big it is. Humble, sure. I love that car. Not sure which car you're talking about. Latifa says, you are so polite. Oh, you clearly don't know me, but thank you. AMC done? I mean, look, if you're asking, then likely you should not be trading AMC because you really need to learn how to read a chart. You want to know what is your what price, what is the context behind that price. So what is your take on NIO in the next 1 to 5 years? NIO will go up, but NIO, just like Tesla, needs to capitalize a little bit on some of the stuff that it promised, right? Because the way that stock prices work, the stock market is forward looking, right? Meaning that all of the hype and the hope behind a stock and its promises are priced in. So the price hike that you see on NIO, the price hike that you see on Tesla, that's based on what it can deliver in the future. And at some point, that momentum is going to stall because investors now have invested in the company and they're like, okay, we have no more to invest. Show us what you could do. So that sort of show me narrative is what is the case right now with NIO and Tesla, right? They're great for the long term, just not going to see the growth that they saw in the last year because that growth has already priced in so many promises and so much opportunity in the future, right? So we have to see them capitalize on some of these things that they promised, like autonomous driving, et cetera, some of the numbers that they hope to reach. And then you will see the stock prices of both of those companies continue to go up. But you won't see the same type of growth that some of us who bought NIO at $4. Go back and watch my old videos. It's going to make you cry. But some of us have bought. Sorry, I was just thrown off by some stupid comment. But you're not going to see the same type of growth, right? Like if you bought NIO at $4 and you saw a rise to 60, you're never going to see that again, right? That multiple, you're never going to see that again. You're talking about a 15x. NIO is not going to 15x from here, most likely, right? Neither is Tesla. 15x is just insane. You have to look at the market cap of these companies, not necessarily the stock price. Because if Tesla's is trading at $500 billion, 15x would make it a $7.5 trillion company. That's not fucking happening. All right. Amazon is not even. Well, Amazon just crossed the 2 trillion mark. So, he talking about Europe like Americans actually travel. I guarantee you my passport looks better than yours, Jibba Jabba. I guarantee you that. I'll bet you $1 million I have more stamps in my passport than you do. $1 million. Swear to God. I bet you $1 million that I have more stamps in my passport than you do. So I don't know what you're talking about. Z challenges you. Other YouTubers tell you what you want to hear. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that other YouTubers tell you what you want to hear and I don't? Probably. Yeah. But let's not paint everybody with the same brush. I talked about some of the YouTubers that I did like and respect. Mike Rizzo says, puta Barça. Your fault. You're hilarious. Passport flags. If you look at blah, 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 pura vida Z says D4. Thank you, man. Cheers. When do you sell or hold Sessin? I've already held Sessin, man. I've talked about this. I'm holding Sessin until we get FDA approval, which is going to happen, which is going to be a sell the news event initially. But I think Sessin can eventually climb up. I did a fair value. Go back and watch this video, man. Go back and watch this video on Sessin, okay? Not so that you can cry at the opportunity that you missed, but go back and watch this video on Sessin to see what my fundamental analysis and my technical analysis on Sessin. But I basically have it at, the $6-7 price range. So currently double double what it currently is, right? Jibba Jab is trolling. I know, man. I know. He's always on the chat, by the way. Can I pay you to review my portfolio? I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't really like to review people's portfolios, but hey, man, sign up if you want a session with me. You can go to my website, and I'm happy to talk stocks with you. But I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't. If you want to talk stocks, sure, yeah, sign up, dude. We'll do a video call. Which EV is close to Tesla? Well, again, you have to look at the American companies, the American car companies, Ford, GM. Volkswagen is not an American company, but there's an American division. You got to look at Ford, GM, and Volkswagen, because those three companies can deliver high quality EVs at scale at a price point that matches Tesla, right? So you got to look at that. What do you think about Ford? I'm bullish on Ford, and if you're a fan of this channel, you would already know that. Been holding Ford since $10. Sucker Ramsey says, I appreciate the time you put in here. I appreciate you. How are your live stream numbers on YouTube? I don't know, man. I don't check the shit. Go back and look. You can look at the metrics. Who is your favorite 5G play? I do like AMT. I like AMT a lot. It is very volatile, though. All right. All right. Let me getting a lot of the same questions in the chat that I already went over. Let me go back to AMC. Oh, by the way, we didn't even do a... So I sent out a tweet yesterday, and I was saying that the American stock market, usually the day before Memorial Day weekend, which is today, has the greenest day of the week. And so far, it looks like that is playing out. So we're up about 0.5% on the NASDAQ, Dow Jones up 1/3%, S&P up 1/3%. So doing really well. And usually we see that continue on the day after Memorial Day. And then historically, Wednesday and Thursday, we see a sell-off, right? So for those of you that are looking to hedge, or those of you that have short-term positions, keep that in mind. But right now, shit looks booming. Let's take a look at our personal index. This is my own watch list. I like to sort it by change. Salesforce, man. You guys, if you missed out, you missed out. Salesforce was an absolute beast. Like I like to say, the pretty model at the club that for some reason is sitting all by her lonesome that nobody's looking at. That's what Salesforce was. We bought it at the 300-day moving average retest, broke out of this descending channel like a champ. This is like a textbook, guys. If you get a technical analysis textbook and you open up to the section that talks about descending channel breakouts, this is what it looks like, right? CRM, an absolute beast here. And based on the numbers, based on the closed acquisition with Slack, based on the Slack numbers, I think CRM easily gets back to the 280 range within the midterm. So I really like this breakout on CRM. And this to me was, again, like I said, an easy play, up already on it 14% since buying the dip on CRM. But again, you want to buy this stuff when they're at optimal levels and then let the news reward you. So CRM up a good 6% today. Alta, another one that we sent out. And by the way, if you don't believe me, here is the trade alerts. See, we bought CRM at the 300 MA for 210, killed earnings up 13%. Still a great long-term hold. We'll likely keep this. So Alta, we bought the dip at Alta at 313. But if you really want to cry, let's search Alta in the trade alerts. And by the way, if you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. Let's go back to July 2020 when we bought Alta for, yes, a grand price of $203, bounced off of support. For those of you that are OGs in the Discord, you will remember this trade. But $203, and Alta is currently absolutely murdered earnings. And someone made a good point in the Discord yesterday saying, look at makeup companies because when people stop wearing masks, women and men who like to wear makeup will likely be buying makeup in large quantities. And that is true. I did not even think about that, right? That you're wearing masks the whole time. You're disincentivized from wearing makeup. And now obviously makeup sales are going to go through the roof. And you see this beautiful double bottom here on Ulta. The second time around that we bought it, or for the new members on the Discord, we bought it at the double bottom retest of this 300 MA, or it could have been the first retest. I can't remember. No, it was the first one. It was back in March. We bought it when it dipped. Yes. So there was a post good earnings drop off, and I love buying earnings overreactions. So it reported insane earnings last time, and it tanked, and we bought it off of this first retest, not the second one. So my bad. So if you bought it at the original 203 level, right now you're currently up 70%. If you bought it at the retest or at the first earnings drop off at around, I think it was 313, I said, currently up around 10 or 11%. So, and Ulta will likely continue to make new highs. This to me looks like Ulta will break out. So this right here is called a double bottom, right? A double bottom bounce and a breakout or a likely breakout of resistance. So if you see this pop above, then you know we will be making new highs on Ulta, kind of like it did back here in June, right? This is like an Adam and Eve pattern, or technically an Eve and Adam pattern. But yeah, looking to continue what it was doing before the pandemic. So Ulta is one, and then the other makeup brand is Coty. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I don't wear makeup, but Coty looks like a sympathy play, right? It's up 1% today. And it looks like it has a lot more room to run. And this was actually, wow, there's actually a lot of value here. Before the pandemic, Coty was trading at around $11, $12. All right, I might actually jump in this today. Should have jumped in. Can't buy everything, but the 100 MA would have been a perfect entry, or if the 50 MA retest. Yeah, I actually might buy, you know what? I might buy leaps on Coty. And a leap is a long-term call option, okay? But I might buy leaps on Coty. So going out to, here, let's look at it. This is how Uncle Z would do it in real life. So let's go to Coty. Is it Coty? Coty? I don't know. And let us go out to, wow. All right. This is insane. Look at the volume. So apparently somebody was thinking like I was today. Look at the call sizzle index. 22. This is a proprietary index that Thinkorswim uses, right? 22 for Coty. 30,000 calls today versus 1,000 puts. So look how bullish the action is on Coty right now. All right. Which calls to buy? Okay. So as I said, we're going to be buying leaps. So leap is usually dated 6 months or more in advance. In this case, I will likely buy the January. Yeah. I want to look for one that has high volume, or at least high open interest. So looking at the $10 January 2022 leaps for Coty at 129. Yeah, I like this one. This is the one that I would likely buy. Let me look at what it was trading, what the chart for the actual option was. Remember, you can look at charts for options, not just charts of the stock, right? In Thinkorswim, you can paste it in here and look at the chart for the option. Oh, wow. So this option was actually trading. Yeah, this option was actually trading at 2.2 not that long ago. Currently trading at 1.25. Yeah, I actually might buy this option. Yeah. Why don't we buy 10 of these leaps here? 10. Should we make it 20? Actually, I want to do it in my other account. Okay, I'm going to do it in my other account. Not my short-term account, since this is considered, for me, a long-term position. But these are the ones I'm going to buy, the $10 leaps on Coty. Anyway, All right, so there's my analysis. That's how I would do it. I got to actually run to the restroom real quick and get some more coffee. So stay with me. I'll leave some tunes for you. Yeah. And then I will be right back. So sit tight. Sit tight. And I will be right back. All right, what should we play for you? Let's play some. What do you guys want to hear? Let's play some lo-fi. All right. I will be right back, guys. Enjoy the music. I'll be right back. up, guys? Let me know. Yo. What is going on, guys? All right, let me know if the I'm gonna turn down the music volume. I'll keep it on in the background, but let me know if it's good. Hold on. All right, so I'm gonna keep it here. Is the mic lower than the music right now? Let me know. Let me know if the music is good. No. All right. All right, you're good now. Okay, I was just waiting for it's a bit delayed. Yo, Tin the Wen says the traveling trader definitely fucks. All right. All right, cool. Let's go back to the chat. Let's see how many people we lost while I was in the little boys' room. All right, you know what? People are saying turn off the music. Some people... All right, you know what? Fuck it. Guys are such sour pusses sometimes. All right, I'll turn the music off. So let us get back to where we're at. How do you stay on top of all your trade alerts that you send out? Honestly, I don't know, man. Like I'm trading I'm used to this. I've been doing this for years. So, you know, I just continue to sit in front of the computer for hours and trade. Do you share the fears that people have about Tether not being back? No, man. Nabil, how long you been in the crypto market, man? No. The Tether FUD is something that happens every year, and if you're part of crypto, you know this. All right. Okay, I turned off the music. God damn, man. Do your show in Maldives. I will, but you know what's so funny is a lot of times I have to tailor where I go based on the internet connection that's there. So, and if I know I'm going to be somewhere where the internet connection sucks, then obviously I won't be doing live streams because it takes a lot of data to do this, right? So anyway. All right. I already talked about Neo. All right, AMC. Let's go back to AMC. Any good earning coin call options? Coin already reported earnings, dude. Didn't Coin already report earnings? Yeah, they reported. We played Coin earnings. What am I talking about? Yes. I mean, this looks to be what the trading range is for Coin, right? So AMC. Oh, okay. Wow. We have a nice wick down so far. Let's take a look at the daily charts, man. Or sorry, the day trading charts. All right. So, yeah. So this is the resistance level that now we're looking to see if it acts as support, right? So AMC could not get above, failed VWAP, which is a purple line, right? Failed the 50, tried to stay balanced at the 100, failed the 100, and now we're trying to see if it fails the 200. But the volume is potentially slowing down on AMC. Part of the reason why it is probably down right now. Actually, the volume is crazy, but maybe a lot of this is profit taking. So there's almost 360 million shares. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. All right, let's see if we can get above support. Because if we fail this, if we fail the 200-day and we fail that support, the next line of support will be around 24, right? The next line of support will be in this range here. Man, they need to learn how to make TOS less taxing on and less memory intensive on your computer system. This is where I would look for as the next line of support, around the 24 range. But we could very well get a bounce here. And the RSI right now is completely overbought. I mean, sorry, oversold. You see it turning blue here. But it would be nice if we can get oversold RSI signal on the 5-minute, because that would then alert an entry. And then here we have the time and sales. It's turning green again, which likely means if it continues to be green and not oscillate back and forth between green and red. See, that's the thing. With every green wave, you get a red wave. So it's a battle between the bears and the bulls here at the 200 MA. But let's see if we can actually buy a call here on AMC. Let's buy let's say the $40. Why does the 39 one have a lot of? Okay. And let's paste this here. Remember, on the right now is the call option. On the left is the chart. And we want to see the time and sales greater or equal to 10. So we see more green here for these calls, currently trading at 290. And I'm trying to see if there's any semblance of bounce here, because then I will likely buy this call. So we have 9, 18. Okay. Oh, why am I buying one? All right, let's change this to 10. And see if we can get. All right, so we got filled at 3. And I'm looking for a bounce here. And I'm not even going to be greedy if we continue to go up. All right, so let's see on the 5-minute. This is the second candle that we started at support, wanting to see if we get a jump up, right? I'm actually going to put my. All right, looks like we're failing support. So I essentially want to abandon this trade because I don't want to eat shit here. And we might fail to the lower support levels. See, when you're day trading, you cannot be stubborn, right? So a lot of the time, this is how it goes. You find your support levels, you end up, buying it at support. But if it starts failing like crazy, you can't just be stubborn and hold on to your trade. If it looks like it's failing support, you have to abandon it. You have to give yourself that, sorry, I'm just monitoring the chart, but you have to give yourself that chance to survive, right? You don't want to just hold something as it bleeds, and then you wait to see if it can climb back above your support level, and then buy the breakout. All right, let's try this again. Come on, Phil, bitch. My bad. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, man. Price is running away. I'm not getting filled at any price here. I'm not going to chase it. All right, let's get back to your chat. Leaps on Cody. Yes, leaps on Cody. I already talked about this. $10 leaps on Cody in January. Before COVID, how often were you traveling? Every month I would go somewhere big, right? Is there a way to buy stock from a credit put spread? Is there a way to buy stock from credit put spread that expiring on lot? I don't know what you mean. How many screens hooked to your machine? Dude, I just trade with a laptop. But when I'm at home, I have one main screen and I have my laptop screen here. But I have a big screen here and I have my laptop screen here. Cody chart looks like a long-term downtrend. All right. Zillow ticker symbol Z, same as your name. If you hold it since 60, you would take profit. Are you a long-term trader? Or like what is your investment horizon? What's your DD on Zillow? I mean, it depends on, it depends on what your investment horizon is. What is your thought on Solo stock? Yeah, I think Solo can continue higher. Are you still on that HelloFresh diet? I do have a meal prep service that I do subscribe to. Yes, you should be selling AMC calls. No, I mean, look, AMC bounced off support, right? And we are now back up to 320 on this call. So no, you don't want to sell these calls. If you hold shares, yeah, sure, you might sell covered calls. But, this option now is back up to 323. All right. Leaps on Baba. No, not for me. Your favorite 3 countries. This is very hard. Your favorite 3 countries. Mexico is one. 100%. Mexico is the most underrated country. I'll say that time and time again. Mexico is the most underrated country in the world. People think of Cancun and now Tulum, but Mexico is so diverse, both in its culture, as well as its food, its landscape. It's such a beautiful country, man. I love Mexico. It's by far, in my view, the most underrated country in the world. So that's one. Let's see. This is very hard, dude. Mexico, I know, is up there. It's very easy to say Italy, Spain, or France. Spain for sure. I think Spain also is very diverse. So spending time, for instance, in a metropolitan city like Madrid, which is just a super modern European city, and then spending time in a more bohemian type vibe like Barcelona, going to the south of Spain, which is just seems like you're stepping back in time, right? Whether you go to Cordoba or Granada or Sevilla, Spain is also amazing. So I would put Spain up there, Spain, Mexico, and where else? An amazing country. God, it's so hard to pick the third one, man. It's so hard to pick the third one. Yeah, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you on that. No one cares about traveling. Apparently, people ask me about it. Egypt. I've been to Egypt for sure. Ukraine. Actually, that's one place I've never been to. Italy. I love Italy. How did you get into trading? Have you ever been to Ecuador? Looking to climb some of the big volcanoes. You know, I haven't been to Ecuador. I've been all around. I've been to Chile, Argentina, Brazil, obviously. I've been to Colombia. I've been all over South America, but I have never been to Ecuador. Swedish girl. You know, I will tell. I'm not. You know, I'm gonna. Yes, I'm gonna save that personal story for another time. For another time. Your favorite places in the States? California, 1,000%. I don't think there's any place in the world weather-wise like SoCal. That's why I'm still here. So SoCal for sure. You know, I really love New York, but I'm refusing to go to it until COVID is completely done because, you know, it's sad. I don't want to see New York like The Walking Dead, but New York for sure. SoCal, New York. I gotta say that I really enjoyed the Pacific Northwest during certain times of the year. And Hawaii, man. How can you go wrong with Hawaii? Marbella, here we come. Yes, Marbella for sure. Why is SoCal so expensive? I mean, look, when you go and stay, aside from the taxes, but NorCal, no, dude. No, NorCal should not even be considered part of Cali. I'm sorry, right? It's too cold. It's too gloomy. You know, San Francisco, unfortunately, has had a homeless problem before it was even a thing in the rest of California. Nah, I'm not a huge fan of NorCal. And I have a lot of friends in NorCal, but I'm not a huge fan of NorCal. Come visit Atlanta one day. Yes, I have a lot of history in Atlanta. I have a lot of history in Atlanta for sure. But SoCal, it's just like, you know, when you go to, it's just like when you go visit a resort, right? You get what you pay for. So in my view, and I've traveled all around the world, there is no weather in the entire world year round like SoCal. There just isn't. Year round, without any storms, without any of those shenanigans, right? So that's why SoCal is expensive. Part of the reason is because of that. It's just such an ideal place to live weather-wise. You can literally do whatever you want on any day. And I snowboard a lot, right? So there's typical days during the ski or snowboard season where I go snowboarding in the morning and I go to the beach in the afternoon, right? I live very close to the beach. You can't beat that, man. You can't beat that. So you get what you pay for. Do you live in Cali? Yes. What do you think I've been talking about this whole time? Christy says SoCal is worth the price. In my view, it is. For some people, it isn't. I used to live in SoCal. Too much smog. When did you live in SoCal? You must have lived here like in the 90s, dude. We don't have smog anymore. It's amazing how cold it gets. Drive over the bridge from San Jose to San Fran. See, this is how I know. Okay, from San Jose to San Fran, and the temp change is 20 degrees. Yes, you're right. Where in Cali? Just moved to Newport Coast. Oh, you're in Orange County. Newport is beautiful, man. Newport is beautiful. I live in LA. Komodo says West LA, stand up. Hey, we must not be that far from each other. I see dolphins swim by every day in Redondo. Yes, you could see dolphins and seals. If you live in like Marina del Rey, I was staying at a place overlooking the marina. You could see seals every single day. You can hear them. They wake you up in the morning. So instead of like roosters and chickens waking you up in the morning, you hear seals. It's crazy. And they jump onto people's boats, which is insane. Inglewood, Playa Vista. Oh, wow. Okay. You're not that far from me. AMC. Okay. Let's look back at AMC. You know what we haven't looked at today? Oops. We haven't looked at GME today. So AMC right now is, again, trying to find support at this level that I drew earlier in the morning. So let's look at GME. So GME is suffering from almost the same thing as AMC. You know what I'm curious to see? What does the volume look like on GME? Because GME is way more expensive. So I assume there's less volume. Yes, a lot less volume. So almost 7 million traded on GME versus AMC, which is freaking insane, man. Almost 400 million in volume. This is shares, the number of shares, right? So, yeah. So GME, chart-wise, yeah. I mean, what time is it? So almost 9 a.m. West Coast time. So it looks like the momentum, at least during around midday, because it's 12 p.m. East Coast time, is deflating for the moment, but I guarantee you we will see a second wave later today, right? So GME right now is trading, again, doing that same resistance support flip. Let's see, I got a phone call. Sorry, a text. But yeah, I think for now, unless you're able to pull up these charts on your own, you can sort of track these support levels. And yes, you can certainly buy at these support levels and, set stop limits for yourself and abandon the trade if it doesn't go your way. As you saw me abandon a trade just a few seconds ago. But all right, so we broke through the first line of support. We have the second line of support here at 25. So let's see if we can fill that. All right. Buffalo, the majority of Cali haters have never lived there. I agree. Yeah, it's so funny to me, man. Like people that make decisions to leave California based on a trend on social media, right? Or what they see on either on YouTube or from other, big name personalities like Elon Musk or Joe Rogan, right? Like these people are rich. For one, Elon has not left California. Yes, technically he moved his residency to Texas, but people on the East Coast, if you're from New York, you've been doing this trick for decades. Just like Trump, how he's a resident of Florida, right? Same thing. In California, Texas is now our Florida, meaning that all of the rich Californians still maintain and operate in California, but they switch their residency to Texas. But it's so funny to me that people that make decisions based on these personalities, they don't have half as much of the money as these people do to protect, right? But they sort of get swayed by these narratives like, oh, yeah, I'm leaving California. I'm going to Texas, man. But they don't realize how much of that was likely, how much they're likely influenced by these personalities, right? These aren't really like organic decisions. But hey, if you left California and that's your prerogative, man. Yeah, sure. For sure. But I love it here. So what do you think? And plus we're going to get either meet Kevin or Caitlyn Jenner as our governor. So Sundial. Yes, I talked about Sundial yesterday. And not only yesterday, but I've talked about it quite a bit. I said Sundial and Tilray are going to be your friends here in the cannabis sector. Wow, very nice breakout on Sundial. I mean, there was I keep liking it back to this analogy, right? The pretty model at the party that for some reason nobody's talking to. Same thing when these stocks are sitting at these major moving averages, and these are stocks that you've been eyeing. I mean, people want to buy. I guarantee people are buying Sundial today, but this was sitting at the 200-day moving average from May 5th all the way to May 25th. That's almost 20 days. Almost 3 weeks it was sitting at the 200-day moving average. What are you doing? Like, if you're not going to buy it there, then when are you going to buy it, right? It moved up 5% on Tuesday. It moved up 13% on Wednesday. Down a little bit yesterday, and it moved up 16% today. Like, I guarantee you there's likely a lot of people FOMOing into this right now when Sundial and Tilray have been on our radar for weeks. So you owe it to yourself to buy at these optimal levels. Meet Kevin seems like a great guy. I don't know him. What application are you using right now to watch your investments? Thinkorswim is what I trade on, and I'm using TradingView for my trading platform. So Long Beach, checking in, can't beat this weather. Yeah, I agree. The Algarve in South Portugal is the same weather as SoCal and 10 times cheaper and very little poverty. Would definitely check that one out sometime. So I've been to Algarve. I know that you live there, Caleb, but I haven't spent enough time to tell you whether year round it's the same as SoCal. Because literally here, the weather is between, even in the summer, it doesn't get so hot, right? It's between, if you're in LA and like LA next to the coast and not inland, but between like 65 and less than 80 every single day. It's insane. What's your favorite indicators when trading? I did a whole technical analysis video on this, but the moving averages, 50, 100, 200, 300, 21 EMA. Volume is a must. RSI, MACD. I like some measure of volume, like on balance volume. Pattern drawing, obviously. I love Keltner channels, Bollinger Bands. I use Fibonacci quite a bit. But yeah, it looks like Sundial is going to break out, by the way. I think Sundial sees, in the midterm, I think we see like $1.15 soon on Sundial. All right. I live in the IE, sucks ass. Yeah, it's really hot. It's really hot in the IE. Peru is nice. Somebody else told me the same thing about Algarve, who's living in LA. Oh, okay. Wait, what wheat stocks? Go back. I talked about it. On balance volume. Google it. It's a volume indicator. It's indicating whether there is a net inflow or a net outflow of volume. Do you have positions in AMC? No, I'm just day trading it and swing trading it. I'm not. I bought it at the $9 level when I did that video, right? So I did that video on the top. Which one was it? It was this one right here. Add these 4 stocks. May 5th. Go back and watch it. AMC was in there at $9. So AMC was trading at $9 back then, but I ended up selling it. So I didn't hold it until today. But as of right now, I'm just swing trading and day trading AMC. 2 hours streaming average. Are you in real estate? No, I'm not in real estate. It's like what I would make in real estate, I can make in an hour clicking around random buttons. So no, I'm not in real estate. I'm not big on real estate. I don't have the time for it. Like, no disrespect to people that are. But Sundial at 115 is not a breakout. What are you talking about, man? Look at the chart. Sundial 115 is an absolute breakout because right now your resistance level, right, is this reverse cup and handle. This is your resistance level. So the 115 would be a breakout of that level, right? Right here. So yes, and it would be above the 100-day moving average. So it is absolutely a breakout. It might not be the breakout you're looking for, meaning you probably want it to 10x, but it is technically a breakout. Newport and Laguna, yes, it's beautiful. Sundial is running. Yep. Will Sundial ever hit above 3 again? Probably, yes. Good entry for coin right now. You're my role and my hero. Man, I feel sorry for you. If I'm your hero, I feel sorry for you. Do you use a scanner? No, but I appreciate it. Jokes. Do you use a scanner? If so, which one? Yes. I use my proprietary Thinkorswim scanner. So in Thinkorswim, you can actually set up whatever the hell scanners you want, right? You can, there's an option scanner, there's a stock scanner, there's even a spread scanner. So I use this quite a bit, right? On the daily, you can actually find stocks that have gapped up in the pre-market and then trade those, because when they gap up in pre-market, then chances are that they will likely revert back to the mean. So we call those pre-market gappers, whether it's gap down or gap up, right? So yes, I use this scanner. Also, if you don't have Thinkorswim, you can use, oh my God, that i8M. How are you guys going to talk about Lucid when this car is coming out? Come on, guys. Finviz has a great screener, not really a scanner, but a screener, because it lets you, it's free, and it lets you pick by volume. I love looking at relative volume because this shows you stocks that have been trading above what they usually trade in terms of volume, right? And you could sort this by the number, and obviously AMC and Sundial Naked are the top. Ford, wow, Ford is top 5. Wow, we have a big position in Ford. That's awesome. BlackBerry, Palantir. And the way that I got this, Linda, was I just did relative volume over 2, meaning trading at 2 times what the relative volume. You can obviously ramp this up to as high as you want, but I did 2 times regular volume and then sort it by volume. But for those of you that are looking for a free scanner, Finviz, it's free. It's amazing. You don't have to get the paid version. I have the paid version of Finviz, well worth it, but you don't have to get the paid version. And by the way, if you guys set up an LLC for trading, you can Google this, talk to your accountant. I urge everybody to do this. Okay. Now, being labeled a day trader as a tax label is very hard to do. Okay. Very, very hard to do. Saying that day trading is your job. However, opening up an LLC, anybody can do. Okay. So open up an LLC for trading, and then you could start expensing some of this stuff against your taxes. So even the money that you make from your job, if you guys have 9-to-5s, the money that you make from that, if you have an LLC, like a single member LLC or a sole proprietorship, you can start expensing some of this stuff and lower your tax burden, but you could start expensing some of the stuff that you pay for. So all of the sites that you pay for, even if you pay for the Discord that we run, right? But all of these sites and services that you pay for, the Discord, whatever, you can write those off as expenses because they are part of your business. So I do that quite often, right? I have an LLC, obviously, for trading, and I everything that I spend, Seeking Alpha, Finviz, Market Chameleon, Ortex, Tip Ranks sponsors me, but if I was paying for Tip Ranks, CNBC Pro, like all these services, you can expense. So just look into that. Google or talk to your accountant how to set up an LLC. It's very easy to do, setting up an LLC, but you can expense all of this shit. Trading View, right, which is an indispensable resource. So yeah, but these are right now. We have AMC, Sundial, Naked, Vertex Energy, Ford Motor Company, BlackBerry, Palantir, GoED, Nokia, and Ethereum or Ethereum, and then Virgin Galactic. Oh, I think this is up 5% today. I wanted to look at Virgin Galactic. Tilray, one of our beast stocks, top 12 in terms of volume right now, up 7% today. So yeah, let me look at BlackBerry. I think that is one that we might be missing in lieu of AMC. It's funny that GME isn't up here. GME isn't even in the top 20. Beyond, which I talked about yesterday. Not only yesterday, I actually talked about in the which video was it? I believe it was the last video I did. Yeah, these stocks. I talked about Beyond here on May 25th. I said that Beyond was a reopening stock that was also heavily shorted. But gapped up today, and we're finally seeing a wick down, but it's testing the 200 MA as support. But Beyond, man, absolutely killing it the last couple of weeks. And then, what did I say? BlackBerry. Let's take a look at BlackBerry. Yeah. So it looks like a lot of these low cap day traded stocks so far are losing steam. But like I said, it is midday, and we will likely see a research towards the end of the day. Remember, this is a long weekend too, right? So even if we do see a resurge, I think we will see some profit taking before the long weekend. No doubt about it, which is likely what is leading to this. We're seeing the first wave of profit taking, and then we will likely see further profit taking, right? Z really dropping gems on these live streams. Everybody like this shit. You know what? I don't say that enough. Yes, you guys need to like this stuff. What is wrong with you? Just click like. Click. More gems, Z. I appreciate you. You just gave me the best tip ever. What did I say? Let me know. What tip are you talking about? Oh, the LLC? Probably can write off your home office square foot. Yes, you can write off your home office, especially now. During the pandemic. That's the best advice I've heard from a YouTube influencer. I don't consider myself an influencer. I'm just a trader who has a camera. Z had to take a moment for that car porn. I mean, can you blame me, Caleb? The i8M? My God. Who would ever get a Lucid over that shit, bro? Do you like Market Chameleon? I love Market Chameleon. You clearly don't watch the channel. Yes, I use Market Chameleon all the time. Born and raised in East Riverside, California, home of Bobby and Barry Bonds. Welcome. LLC. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'll be setting up an LLC this weekend. It's a hot car. Yes, for sure. Can you do a video about an LLC sometime? Maybe, but there's already a good video online about this. There's this gentleman whose name is something tax. He always he grew his channel to look, if you can grow your channel, I can't remember what his name is. But if you can grow your channel to 1 million subs just talking about taxes, you're a boss, dude. You are a boss level. He has 1 million something subs, and he's a tax channel. I can't remember what his name is. God, I got to find it. Clear something tax? Clear choice tax? I think so. Just look up stimulus tax, and it's the channel, the only tax channel in YouTube's history that has 1 million subs. That guy. Clearview. Yes. Clearview tax. This dude I'm so impressed by this guy's channel. Only because it just seems so counterintuitive. Clear value. Yeah. Not Clearview. Clear value. It seems so counterintuitive that a tax channel would have 1 million subs, dude. Good for that guy. Good for that guy. But he's done a lot of videos, and he's such a great resource for everything tax. Like, he's even helped me with, not personally, but his videos have helped me with the taxes related to entertainment stuff like YouTube, right? Which, I wouldn't even know, right? Because I'm not technically a YouTuber. I just trade and I turn on my camera and there you go. There's my channel. So yeah, how you feeling about Tilray? I talked about this ad nauseum, Tim. Not only today, also on the Discord, we've been trading Tilray for weeks. Also talked about Tilray yesterday. So yeah, Queenie, I clearly watch you nonstop. I appreciate you, Queenie. Thank you so much. I see your name all the time, so thank you for tuning in. I was just joking when I said you clearly don't watch me. You have 222 subscribers. 1,000, hopefully, you mean? If my subscriber count dropped to 222 just from this from this live stream, then it's a sad day. But hopefully you mean 222,000. He's the most serious YouTuber, probably. Clippers going down today. Yes, I'm not a Clipper fan. I'm actually going to the Laker game on Sunday. So, yeah, which is crazy because they're only allowing 4,000 people, 5,000 people in the Staples Center. So yeah, Colombia, Medellin, best. I love Medellin. I almost got married in Colombia. No, I'm kidding. But I love Medellin. SPACs will recover soon. i8M is a hybrid. I don't even care what it is. The i8M could be burning canola oil. I'll still buy that shit. Go Lake Show. Hell yeah. AMC. Yeah, okay. How much are they charging tickets for? You don't want to know, Richard. You don't want to know how much I'm paying for these tickets. Go Warriors. Warriors are actually not in the playoffs anymore. So, sorry. What style of ball do you play? It's a style of ball called basketball. I play basketball. I play soccer. I don't know what style of ball do you mean. They're pickup games? Is ChargePoint a good future? So I talked about ChargePoint earlier. Yes. This is Raf Ryder. Been with you from the beginning. What's up, Todd? What's going on, man? Your thoughts on the future of the market going forward, 2021. Look, I'm happy to say we've been right about the markets pretty consistently last year and this year. So last year, as you know, if you've been with me for a very long time, bought the epic dip March 23rd. No, I did not think that was the bottom. And if you want to see evidence of that, just search in the Discord on the trade alerts, and you can see March 23rd what I bought. Bought the dip. Did not think, nobody in their right mind thought we'd see 80% in 1 year. And I said 2021 will likely be still an up year, but obviously not as aggressive as 2020. And so far, what we are seeing in 2021, we are up. And I said that the average gain in the market for 2021 will be 17%, right? Currently, by the end of the year, currently 2021, we are up 16%. So we are already, and obviously the market can go down and then back up. I understand this, but we are already near what the average gain is for the second year of the bull run, right? And I also said that April was the best month, and so far April is the best month for 2021. The S&P gained 5.25%. And I said that May is usually likely a slow month, and the S&P is only up a net 0.89% in May. So far we've been tracking the market correctly, and I'm happy to say that. I also think we're not going to get a crash in 2021, and I think 2022, Uncle Jay Powell will not be able to shy away from it anymore. We'll have no choice but to raise rates in 2022, even though they said they'll only do it in 2023. They'll have no choice but to raise rates in 2022, in my view. So we've had, $4 trillion already of stimulus. We are printing another $6 trillion more for the infrastructure, even though that will have residual effects, positive effects for the economy, because it's going to grow jobs, it's going to grow infrastructure. So that stuff boosts the economy. But still, you're printing money and you're throwing it on the economy, right? So that those dollars are entering circulation. So there's no way that we won't see inflation take shape aggressively by next year. Aggressively. So I think they will start to taper next year, and I think that's when we can start looking at a potential crash, right? Brian, funny, what's your take on Baba? I like Baidu a little more than Baba. I think Baba is going to be artificially suffocated by the CCP, because I think that Jack Ma will not ever enter the good graces of the CCP full-fledgingly once again, right? Unless he steps down and they replace him with somebody. But I like Baidu a lot more than Baba. Triple T, thanks for all you do. You add value in people's lives. You always share very credible and reliable info. Wish you great success. Thank you, Mary. I wish the same upon you. Respect from Jamaica. Dude. Gotta do a TTT meetup in Jamaica soon. Love Jamaica. Hawks and Brooklyn East finals. Yeah, probably. Can we talk about how to read? Okay, what do you think about the coming fall, winter? What do you think if the COV come back? Let hope not. No idea what that means. I have lots of bonds in my 401k. Okay. Let me tell you something about bonds. Bonds, as Warren Buffett once said, if I can find the clip for you right now, actually, I will. Warren Buffett famously, for some reason, it recommended me to me. Amazing. By the way, this podcast right here, Flagrant 2, it's the fucking funniest podcast of all time, if you guys haven't seen it. So Warren Buffett bonds. Warren Buffett, bond investors face it. Not this one. Okay, right here, this one. Let me see if I have the volume turned up, because just to show you what Warren Buffett thinks about bonds, I'm going to be playing this.
In the financial industry, I started out buying penny mining stocks on the Vancouver Stock Exchange, and then a decade later I got married and my wife convinced me to buy Berkshire shares. That was probably a good decision.
We know is we think that the picture, and the one thing we know is we think that long-term bonds are a terrible investment, and we at current rates, or anything close to current rates. So basically all of our money that is waiting to
Hopefully
be
you can hear
placed
this.
is in treasury bills that I think have an average maturity of 4 months or something like that at most. The rates on those have gone up lately, so that in 2018, my guess is we'll have at least $500 million more of pre-tax income.
All right. So just I was just showcasing to you that bonds, according to Buffett and me, well, I don't put myself anywhere near Buffett, so don't think I'm saying that, but I do think they are terrible investments, to answer your question. Now, talk to your advisor. Don't make any sort of long-term decisions that affect you and your family based on me or based on this. Please talk to your financial advisor. But I will just show you some data as to why bonds are a terrible investment, at least with the current rates, as Warren Buffett said. But bonds are in a 40-year bear market. Did you know this? A 40-year bear market. By the way, Charlie Munger, sometimes I look at him, I don't know if he's alive. Like, honestly, he's just... I've never seen a human being look more like a corpse than Charlie Munger. And the fact that these two don't retire and they drink endless amounts of Coke, they both have Cokes on the table, is amazing. But the fact that they don't retire, I mean, they're driven by something other than money. They're a different species. I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about this recently when Joe Rogan asked him about Jeff Bezos, like, what's his motivation? And he was saying that's just a different species. It's clearly not money, right? There's a competitive drive there. These guys think of these guys, I know based on their appearance, it's hard to tell, but think of these guys like Michael Jordan, all right? Like Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. But instead of golf and basketball, we're talking about investments, right? It's clearly not about the money. But let me show you something with bonds that is going to blow your absolute mind. And sorry, I lost your comment, so I can't remember who asked that. God, I can't remember who asked that. So, Richard Razzo. I have lots of bonds in my 401k. Should I scale back? So think of how much you are missing by not putting it in an index fund, okay? Let's look at a bond. So let's look at the U.S. 10-year government bond, okay? Actually, sorry. What was the I can't remember what the ticker symbol is. Hold on. Okay. Let's look at the U.S. 30-year government bond, okay? Sorry, not the 10-year. 30-year obviously has a lot more data, okay? This is going all the way back to 1988. Remember I said they're in a 40-year bear market, okay? Look at the bonds, dude. This is in 40 years. The bonds are declining probably much more in value than you are gaining or than you are losing in inflation. So, over the course of 40 years, we're talking about an 88% drop. And now, obviously, we climb back a little bit because after every crash, you'll see, after every market crash, you'll see a major drop off in bonds. And then, as the reflation kicks in, you'll see an increase in bonds. But in general, the trend is down, as you see. So bonds are in 40 years almost down 78%. Like, this is what the trajectory of a bond is. Okay. So if you're in bonds, good fucking luck. And that is why Warren Buffett, I showed you that clip. Hopefully you were able to hear that. But that is why Warren Buffett said that bonds are a terrible investment, right? I think those were his exact words. Because look at it, take anything. So let's go all the way back to 1987, just so that we're comparing apples for apples. If you go to the QQQ, right, which is the NASDAQ ETF, this doesn't go all the way back. Actually, you know what? We can just look at the index itself. So we'll look at the index. We'll look at the the index itself, and we'll look at the S&P 500 as well, right? If you were to put your money in the NASDAQ, going all the way back to almost the same time, you lost 78% in bonds, right? And you could see that the NASDAQ index since that same time has gained 10,000%, dude, in the same amount of time, okay? Look at the S&P. I guarantee you something similar. The S&P since 1987, and by the way, what I'm advocating for here, and obviously talk again to your financial advisor, what I'm advocating for here is putting your money in equities, just as Warren Buffett said, versus putting it in bonds. So the S&P 500 gained 1,800% within that same amount of time, right? And again, going back to bonds, look at the U.S. 30-year bond. This is an atrocious joke. This is like a crime, dude. Where was I? This is not the right chart. 30-year. God damn it. Sorry. Was it this one that I was looking at? Yeah, the yield. So the yield for the 30-year bond, went from almost 10% in 1987 to trading at 2.2 now, and actually hit a low of less than 1, right? So that's my view on bonds. I don't have any bonds. Well, I'm sure that I do in my long-term portfolio. I'm sure part of the mix of some of the mutual funds I'm in, I'm sure some of it is in bonds. But I'm not actively invested in bonds, right? It's part of a passive investment. I'm sure, again, that some funds that I'm in do have bonds in them, but I'm not like selecting bonds to put them in. It's, in my view, it's a terrible investment. But again, talk to a financial advisor. Hopefully this shed some light on what I was talking about. Appreciate you, Z. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you too. I love that comedian. Schultz is hilarious. Dude, Schultz and Singh are so funny to me. Hey man, love what you do for the YouTube community, dropping gems. Appreciate you. All right. What's your go-to comfort food? Okay. So there's two. And if I had a last meal, right? Like if I was on death row, can you explain Fibonacci levels? Margaret. Yes, I'll explain them. If I had a last meal, there's two, right? It's either going to be shawarma, right? 2 shawarma sandwiches, 1 chicken, 1 lamb, or biryani, which is an Indian dish that can be made vegetarian, but really is a crime. Hey, don't get your panties in a bunch, vegetarians. Biryani is really good if you make it with lamb, or what they call mutton in India, or can be made with chicken. And I love chicken biryani, and I love mutton biryani as well. So those two things, biryani and shawarma, would be like, if I was to die and you're like, pick a last meal, it would be one of those two things. Preferably both at the same time if I'm going to die. But both of those two things. Can you explain Fibonacci levels? Yes. So Fibonacci levels are, again, they are numbers that exist, that sequence exists in nature. So what Fibonacci discovered was that those numbers exist in nature, in everything in nature. So he witnessed them in the way that the length that trees grow, for instance, right? Or the tree rings, something to do with the tree rings, or different patterns in nature. But they can also be applied to trading. I don't know who revolutionized bringing Fibonacci numbers into trading, but it has been, let me turn the secondary volume down. So that Jamaican horn's going nuts. Yeah, I don't know who I should look that up, but I don't know who revolutionized bringing Fibonacci into trading. But the thinking there is that those numbers also exist in nature, and since trading reflects human nature, that it exists in nature as well, right? But essentially, if you're trying to measure a downtrend, so if you see Tesla here drop from 900 down to 625 where it's trading now, then you are going to measure from the bottom up, and you take the swing low. In this case, I'm using this swing low, the most observable swing low, and it's subjective, right? Depending on how you interpret the chart, you can use the swing, the lowest swing low that's on your observable chart, or you can use the most, how should I term this? The one that is most relevant, which in this case would be maybe the 2020 crash if we're talking about recent context. And obviously, you can take this, you can look at a monthly chart and go look at Tesla, whatever the absolute lowest price was on Tesla to the highest. It's all about what you want to read and how you contextualize things. So if I'm just observing this current trend, so since the anomalous crash, right, Tesla is now establishing its price action from that crash. If I'm trying to measure this downtrend here, I'm going to measure from the bottom up. Okay, so because I'm measuring, again, this downtrend, this drop off from 900, and I want to see at which Fibonacci level Tesla, and you would use these as support and resistance levels, right? Because remember, if you refer back to my intro to technical analysis, I was saying that everything you're doing is trying to establish support and resistance. So we have the one level right here at the bottom of the 2020 crash. And we have the zero at the top, the tippy top, the all-time high here that we established. And the reason that we're doing that is because we're trying to measure this downtrend here, right? This price drop from 900. So again, whoever was clowning Fibonacci yesterday, and again, it was just a few of you, but I mean, it's not magic. I didn't even draw this. Like, I drew this in real time based on someone's comment. You can see that Tesla stopped at the 0.382. It's clearly using 0.382 as the support level, right? We hit that back in March 8th, and we hit that back around May 17th. So 0.382 is the current level. Now, there is something called a golden ratio, which is between the 0.618 and 0.5 levels, which you see here. Or, sorry, 0.618 and 0.65 levels, which you see here. This is considered a golden ratio, both in terms of if a stock is in an uptrend or a stock is in a downtrend. And if you're measuring an uptrend, you would just reverse this. You would put the 1 up top and the 0 at the bottom. All right. So that is a brief explainer on how you would use the Fibonacci. Let us check on our darlings. AMC. Nice. So, we drew these support and resistance levels, obviously, before they took shape, and we could see AMC bounce nicely off the support. As I said, I do think the sell-off, the midday sell-off, we will likely see another resurgence towards the end of the day, and then I think another sell-off, if I'm being honest, because before the long weekend, I think people want to take profits on the meme stocks, and then it will likely continue again, on Tuesday. But that is what I think. That we'll see a bounce here. I don't know if we get back to 36 today. It really depends on the trading volume. Obviously, you can't get to that price without there being a lot of volume. So I'd be curious to see. All right, so volume is slowing down. I mean, it's insane that it's 470 mil almost, but slowing down in terms of its acceleration, right? Yeah, so I don't know that we get to 36 today, but we will certainly, as we are seeing now, we saw a bounce off support. We will certainly see a run up. Maybe I would target VWAP at around 30 to see if we can break that, if we can break VWAP. But I do think we will get another round of sell-offs towards the end of the day, for sure, because there's no way that people who have heavy bags, especially institutions, they will likely pull the rug, which in my view, a lot of institutions already started pulling the rug here, at least for today. right? Because again, they can see the volume data. They can see your trades before you can. So, I mean, before it goes through. Appreciate it, Z, for the insight. Thank you, Richard. No problem. It's copper played out. I talked about it in the beginning when we went over the $6 trillion infrastructure. It is at the top, but there is more to go in my view. So VWAP is Clear Hay says, can you explain VWAP? Volume weighted average profile is basically, you can think of it like the mean, right? It's a volume weighted reading of the price, volume weighted average price. Sorry. It's a reading of the price based on volume, and it tries to determine a mean based on price and volume. So if it's below VWAP, it's considered below average, and if it's above VWAP, it's above average, right? But the thinking there is that, the fact is that stocks will always revert to the mean and go above and below. So VWAP also can act as support and resistance, right? Again, anything you're trying to measure with charts, you are looking to determine support and resistance. Sold July puts on TTCF. Paid $55,000. Oh, good luck. You want to sell puts, dude? Let me see what TTCF is. You want to sell puts on a down day, man. In my view, this is a little too high to sell puts here. A little too high. You want to wait because TTCF is overbought, and it is a very swingy stock that will likely retest one of these major moving averages. I think you sold puts prematurely, because this will likely keep dropping, and you could sell puts for a lot more, and even at lower strike prices once this thing retraces from being overbought. So anyway, but you can't go wrong if it's a stock that you want to own. I just talked about AMC. Jesus Christ. Scroll back 2 seconds. Talk about Hertz. No. What is a good price to get into Ford? Sadly, I think you missed it. Honestly. At this point, you can only dollar cost average. I don't think there is a good price. Can I also become a traveling trader by taking your course? Likely not. And I will never bullshit you. Anything that I am doing in this space, whether it's trying to teach options or live streams or, telling you how to day trade or trying to teach you how to day trade or teach you how to do technical analysis, I will never bullshit you, man. I've never and will never make a claim that anybody can day trade for a living or travel and trade for a living. It is very hard. Okay. Hear me out. You don't just wake up one day, pick up a basketball and say, oh yeah, I watched the video on how to dribble. I watched the video on how to shoot a jump shot. I watched a video on the mechanics of free throws, and I'm actually going to be in the NBA next week. That fucking doesn't happen. Why would you expect it to happen with trading? All right? I'm being real with you guys. Why would you expect it to happen with trading? It is a very hard skill to master. Now, investing and trading are two different sports. So I don't want you to think that because you're not a day trader, that means all principles go out the window. No. Investing principles are extremely important to maintain. Investing is a lot easier than trading, but the emotions of investing are still something you have to master, because investing is really just buying blue chips on the dip. That's it. There's no more to it. It's just that people get so caught up that they always are panic selling. They're getting into too many positions. They keep jumping from stock to stock. They see their stock go down. They end up panicking. They end up selling. Investing principles are really easy. You just buy blue chips on the dip and hold long term, and that's it, right? Talk to somebody who bought even an index fund, right? Just say like the SPY back in the 2008 crash, and all they did was buy and hold, right? There's no skill in that. The only skill is controlling your emotions. But someone who's very passive, like your parents or your grandparents, they probably bought an S&P based fund, or their financial advisor did it for them, right? There's no skill in buying and holding that besides holding it. But trading, dude, trading is an entirely different sport, right? It's the same as picking up chess or golf or whatever, skydiving, right? You don't just wake up one day and say, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do for a living." No, it takes a lot of work, man. Like, I've poured thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into trading, learning how to trade options, technical analysis. And I went to finance school, right? I got a degree in finance. They don't teach you any of this shit. They teach you how to value a company. They teach you these old school methods that are still valuable, how to value a company's assets, how to value a company's future cash flows, etc. But they don't teach you how to trade. We didn't have any of this technology back then anyway. So, it would have been impossible regardless, at least to trade the way that we do now. But yeah, don't think you're going to wake up one day, regardless of whether you take my course or not. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. Now, is it impossible? No, it's very possible. But it's not possible without you putting in hundreds and thousands of hours into mastering this craft. And along the way, being able to control your emotions while doing it, right? Because remember, the technical side of things is one thing, and then what you feel in your gut is another, right? So I will never bullshit you, man. So likely, if you're not putting in the work, no, you will not be able to trade for a living. Absolutely not. All right. That's an analogy most will understand. Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, you're talking about like the sports analogy? Yeah, maybe. What about a 2-year leap on Ford? Again, I think you missed the boat on Ford, even on a leap. And I think you will have to, like, you didn't miss the boat on a leap, but you will buy a leap and the price will go down and you will feel like shit. So right now, to me, is not the optimal price. If you bought a leap and you didn't look at it for 2 years, I think you will be good. But if you're asking whether a lot of people, when they're asking this question, what they're really asking is, can I buy now and not feel like shit later when the stock price dumps? In that question, in that regard, no, you missed the boat in the short term. But in the long term, I think you're fine. We'll assess and break out. Already running, man, 40% in the last couple of weeks. Linda, how many accounts did you blow? I've talked about this before, and you want to know the real answer? None. I've never blown an account. Swear to God, never blown an account trading. And that should not be the norm. It should not be like, oh, well, he blew 3 accounts and she blew 5 accounts and she blew 2 accounts. You're not supposed to blow your account. Now, if you have a small account that you're using for day trading, if you're like, hey, I really want to learn this thing. I'm going to start with, lower price stocks, and I'm going to start day trading with $500. And that $500, I blew it. That's, but you really have like $10,000 in your investing portfolio. That's not really blowing an account. That's actually being very responsible. But blowing an account, I've never done it. Never, ever done it. Happy to say. So, skydive in Queenstown. Yes, I'm actually getting my skydiving license soon. I did skydive, but it was only tandem. But I do want to skydive. I want to get my license, right? What direction do you see electrical vehicle companies going in? I talked about it earlier in the live stream. I think there's going to be a lot of resistance until they can deliver on some of the more advanced features that they've been promising. Can AMC continue? Just rewind, man. Rewind. I talked about AMC for hours. New drinking game. Every time Z has to say, come on, dude, take a shot. Love the info. Appreciate you. Can you show us some of your market chameleon screeners? Sure. You don't have to set up specific screeners in Market Chameleon, because the great thing about it, and there should be a discount somewhere if you guys are interested in signing up. If you click a link in the description, hopefully there is. If not, I'll add it later. But I should have a sweet discount for you on Market Chameleon. But Yeah, what I'm saying is on Market Chameleon, there are predefined screeners here, right? So, oh wow, Bumble absolutely tearing, man. I'm so happy we bought Bumble. That was also in the last video. All right. Yeah, you have these predefined screeners, right? So you can even screen by options play, which I think there's a very mixed bag of success here. I think your best bet is to still corroborate things with the chart, even if you're trying to use one of these predefined screeners for the options. But the thing that I like is I like looking at the earnings screeners because it allows me to see what's coming up, right? So if you go to earnings and you go to today's opportunities, it will show you all of the tickers of the stocks that have earnings coming up. So I really like that. And it back tests you. It tells you which strategy earned the highest return, and it gives you a Sharpe ratio, right? Which is basically just it's not specific to options. A Sharpe ratio is something that they use in gambling too, but it's basically trying to value the bet against what the proposed return is. But I really look at unusual options volume. This is where the bread and butter is. So I go to options, I go to unusual options volume, and I do this for stocks too, because you can go to stocks and you can go to unusual stock volume. And what you're trying to look for is a stock or an option that has a lot of volume that has not yet moved. So I look in the change section here, right? And I see, I wonder, can you see this? Yes, you can see this. And I'm trying to look to see if there's something that's relatively unchanged or something that has a ton of calls that is still in the negatives, meaning that you could potentially catch it on the way up. And then I will then take this and look at, so I'll give you an example. If I look at, if I look here at well-built WBT, right? This is volume or volatility change. I was talking about the price change. So you want to look at something like, look at MJ. All right. So MJ has a shit ton of calls coming in, which is the marijuana ETF. And I was just talking about marijuana too. And the price is only up 1.7%. So it says that it has 76% are calls, right? So then I will look at MJ and try to see where is that open interest in that volume concentrated. Right. So then I go to open interest and I try to see what has the most, and see, look, I mean, traders are not stupid, right? As I said earlier, this corroborates what I was saying earlier, that marijuana legislation will be back on the table at some point. It's just not the highlight right now, right? COVID relief, infrastructure, that's the highlight. Reopening. But once that stuff is done, the government is going to shift focus again on marijuana. And for that reason, you see a lot of January calls. You see the open interest is up by 1,800 here. A lot of January calls coming in for MJ, for the MJ ETF. These are basically leaps, right? Saying that they're banking on marijuana increasing. So that's really how I use Market Chameleon. I look at the unusual options volume, and then you could do this with stocks too. You go to stocks and look at unusual stock volume. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. You don't really need to, set up a whole lot of things in Market Chameleon. That's why I love it. Very informative. Glad to hear more than just AMC. Thank you. Appreciate it, Radio Joe. Dead inside and out. I made $400K on GME and I started investing at the beginning of COVID. Yeah, I mean, if you put in a lot of money, for sure. I know people that made quite a bit. I made quite a bit in January, February, for sure. AMC, should I hold? Talked about AMC. If you're asking this, you probably should not be trading AMC, in my view. Honestly, you need to learn how to read a chart. Otherwise, you're just looking at your phone, randomly buying it, and not knowing what that price represents. So, All right, guys. Been on for freaking 3 hours, man. I think it's time I dip out, and I will catch the rest of you guys on the Discord. All right, guys. Peace. Thank you guys for joining. I love you as always, and thank you for joining. And I will continue to make more of these because I'm getting insane feedback on these, and you guys seem to love them. And I love doing them. So thank you for joining. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial weekend for those of you in the U.S. Love you. Peace.